What if it bumped that control by accident? You'd be mincemeat by now. What have I told you?
All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking. You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here, shake hands with danger.
Hello, and welcome to Mark Read Atheism. Today we're doing the after show for Grayson versus SeaScience Film Labs. I believe his name was also Mark on Australopithecus. Yes, Australapithecus. So I'm Mark Readapithecus, and I think that I've got a couple more Australapithicines behind the scenes, ready to come in and talk about the debate, everything that was discussed. First of all, I just want to say, fantastic job, Grayson. It was a difficult debate. It was made difficult. I get you, mate. If he's more than welcome to come in. I will send him a link and hopefully he'll come. Everybody's welcome here. If you do disagree, that's fine, no problem. But we will try and keep it respectful and only have one person talking at a time and things like that. If you do enjoy the stream, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you do want to see more after shows, more debates, more everything, more me, I guess, because this channel just is me doing my thing. As a big announcement, I do have memberships available. You can get some awesome emojis and some awesome stuff, some awesome perks if you do enjoy my content. And if not, that's fine too. No problem at all. But I'll just add in a few people so we can sort of get a panel up. And we've got James W. We have the amazing Bumblebee. And we have Dr. Dianthropus. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Dr. Dianthropus.
Dianthropus.
Yeah, pretty
Dianthropus. Close enough, yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me, everybody. Welcome to the after show. First off, first come, first served. James, what are your thoughts on the debate and everything that you saw today?
Well, I think I speak for everybody on our side. That was painful to go through. I think Grayson did really well. I think SeaScience is a handful for just about anybody to deal with. He just spams things left and right, and he shifts topics, he shifts goalposts. He's very shifty, you could say. But yeah, I think Grayson did pretty well, about as well as anybody could in that circumstances. I think he should have probably gone to timed responses. That would have been a lot better. Would have at least let him address the nonsense that SeaScience is spamming out. It's like you remember Jamie Studio 215 Ministries, where he did a video complaining about the methodology of how these fossils are put together. It was like a lot of these general complaints like that. It's like just general complaints about the methodology. But yeah, I felt Grayson was good.
Well, sorry to interrupt. I believe that Jamie's thing was all conspiracy theory, that they were all put together by people wanting to, like he said, that the tectonic fossil was 3 fossils that had been joined into one and things like that, which was really, there's no evidence of that to my knowledge. But this was a less, I think SeaScience was less conspiracy stuff, but the whole thing about the base kind of thing, what do you say? Yeah, and he seemed to think that they used a chimpanzee matrix, I think he called it, in order to put these fossils together, which I don't know where he got that information from, and nobody could sort of tell where he got that information from. So I'm not sure,
because you could never pin him down. He was just shifting from topic to topic. You could never really nail down one thing. He would bring up 5 other things, and then kind of Hovind-esque in his gish galloping.
I did notice that. Yes, I did notice that. Yeah, I think I was saying as much during the debate, that it did seem a bit like Hovind's sort of move on to the next thing. Yeah. And Bree, what did you think of the debate? You only came in about halfway through, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually probably going to get some ire for this, because I think that Seaside actually has potential to be a good debater. I think that there's a good framework that they're building on in their engagement as far as being cordial and whatnot. I know that there is as far as sourcing and things like that, of course, that's always something we're going to run into when we're engaging with like younger creationists and stuff, because their sources are going to be stuff that we wouldn't consider viable sources, right? And I also want to break down Dinoanthropus, because I like breaking these down. Is this the terrible human? I'm thinking, because Dinotherium, the terrible beast, Deinonychus, the terrible claw. So
yeah,
Dinoanthropus.
It's a kind of a play on words. I came up with a name for this channel a long time ago, mostly to make fun of Kent Hovind, aka Dr. Dino. I'm not great at making art, but I hope to someday have like a Deinonychus with glasses or something as my profile picture.
Yeah.
You and me both, mate. I'm terrible at it as well. Don't worry about that.
I like the name. That's good stuff.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
Deinanthropus is just a joke going at, because Mark has Epithecus at the end of his, so I thought, I'll play into it.
And if I can just take a second to touch on the Tong child, because that came up and it's like one of my favorite topics.
Tong child, yeah.
Yeah. So they've actually identified that it was killed by a big bird, probably a African crowned eagle. I just grabbed the little.
Do you know how they identified that?
Because the
punctured wound
in the skull is from a bird talon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how they grab monkeys like that today. They even hunt chimps. So the Tong child was maybe definitely small. I mean, they're big enough to take off with a human baby if it was like left unattended. But
eagles,
yeah.
I mean, I think they do in modern day. Could be wrong.
Well, they've taken off with lambs and baby like calves and stuff. Like they will actually attack really big animals. It's crazy.
I actually did a cryptic corner about the giant eagles take babies and snatch kids a long time ago. But there is a story about in the Alps. There was a little schoolhouse up in the Alps, and let the kids out for recess, and the eagle came swooping down, grabbed the little girl by her coveralls, and they did the same thing it does to a goat. Kind of flew her, like dove with her in its claws. Not actually carrying the weight, but just kind of getting her out over the open air and dropping her. That's how they
jeez.
that's how they
Kill
do with the
their prey,
goats
yeah.
and stuff too. It's terrible, but that it managed to do that. But the problem they were having was that they were closing up these cattle pits where they throw the dead bodies of the cows in. The government made it illegal to dump there, and so the birds of prey were all hungry. That's usually where they were going to feed. Anyway, that's my little anecdote for the day. I'll turn it
Okay.
over to whoever's next up here.
Yeah, the good doctor, I think, is next.
Sorry, were you saying it was me next?
Yeah, yep.
All right. Well, I gotta kind of echo what everyone else has said. I mean, the SeaScience guy was absolutely horrendous, and the Grayson seemed pretty good. This is my first time really listening to either of them, but that's my first impression.
Okay.
Yeah.
Honest impression, first impressions. That's fine. I don't think I actually agree with Bree that SeaScience could make a really good debater. I have no doubt he's got that sort of he's got that way of talking that sort of presents facts very quickly. I mean, they're not facts in this case, but sort of presents his points very quickly. The problem is that he falls back on sort of these really dishonest tactics like gish galloping. Like he'd bring up one point and then move on to another, then another, then another, then another, and we all sort of see him do it. And interrupting people, he loves to interrupt people. And but I have to agree with Bree. He could be a good debater, except that he doesn't seem to take his time. He doesn't seem to put points out there and allow them to be discussed. He just sort of moves on or changes the subject, and that sort of completely nullifies any kind of goodwill I have towards him. He's doing it on purpose, and he's
he does
kind
have
of
that charisma, that presentation, that
it's
style. He sounds like he
Yeah.
knows what he's talking about. It's all nonsense, but if you don't know the topic, it kind of sounds like maybe he knows what he's talking about.
Well, he brought up good points, but there were like these massive holes in what he was doing. Sort of, so when he sort of said, "Hey, the skulls look the same if you compare them side by side," and then Grayson said, "Well, let's compare them side by side," and he's sort of like, "Well, I'll get you a side by side comparison," and then went off down the longest rabbit trail that I have seen in many a year, like sort of going to these bones and this skeleton and that skeleton, and as he went down that document kind of thing. And never did we ever see the skulls side by side.
I don't think
Not
so.
from him, we didn't. Not from him. I think that Grayson, don't get me wrong, I love Grayson. I think he was underprepared for this one. I'm sorry. Crucify me if you want. I think he was unprepared. He sort of was, his introduction wasn't an introduction, and I've criticized creationists before and flat earthers before for using their introduction as a rebuttal. It annoys me, and so in order to be fair, I have to say Grayson used his introduction as a rebuttal. I would have liked to see something presented, because there's so much concrete evidence, and he got to the point, like, during the debate that, yeah, you can say the skull looks like this, but you can't square that with the way the anatomy looks, the pelvis that's designed for walking upright. When I say designed, I mean, has evolved for walking upright. The shape of the teeth, the shape of the skull, and some of the
legs,
things like
the shape of the feet.
Right.
The bipedalism.
I thought there was sorry, go ahead.
You can say something looks like something else all you want,
right?
But especially when studying fossil specimens, you get up close and you measure everything, and putting all of these measurements of certain features together, you can pretty easily tell what creatures are more similar to one thing than others, or are intermediate. And I don't.
There
think
is a
he gets that at
conversation.
all.
There is a conversation to be had about something that SeaScience brought up, and that was, bipedalism. From was it developed in the trees, or did it come from moving to the open plains? Is it something we developed as a advantage from already walking and moving in a 3D environment through the treetops, or was it something that we had to adapt moving from that environment into a more 1 or 2D plane where there's a lot less cover?
Being able to stand, we can see further.
No,
I thought that was sort of one of the hypotheses
That's what I
that we
was
needed
under
to see further over the savannah.
Well,
Because
it
we
is a
didn't have
really
the trees.
interesting. It is a really interesting topic in anthropology,
Mhm.
and there were a lot of different hypotheses. Really, there's just a lot of different ways it could develop. One of the ideas is, looking over grass. Another one is being able to stand up and grab branches above your head to help you move around, which is something a lot of modern apes already do. Part of what makes an ape is an increased propensity towards sitting upright or standing more upright. We just have a different posture compared to monkeys. And that's why all apes can brachiate, swing from branch to branch using just their arms. Most monkeys can't really do that.
Even
only some
humans can hang by their own body weight. It's weird. People put babies on, sort of things that they can hold onto, and they'll just hang there, and it's strange, but
yeah. I mean, just look at gymnastics. It's just putting that ability to the extreme.
Yeah, we are pretty agile apes, aren't we? When it comes down to it, it's just that we're, the four of us, we're probably lazy and don't exercise to the point where we'd be swinging from the trees and stuff. But we can get ourselves there with the right dedication.
And I'm hitting the gym again, so give me a couple months.
We gotta just support each other in our pursuit of ape-like brachiation abilities.
Right. Well, I mean, I used to do gymnastics when I was younger, so I was a big fan of gymnastics.
Me too. I still like gymnastics. I don't think I can walk on my hands anymore, though.
Mark on the parallel bars.
I could.
You could do the parallel bars?
Actually, I did do parallel bars. I was really into rings.
The rings,
which is the hanging rings.
Like a ring guy. Yeah.
Let's see the guns, Mark. Come on.
I love it. Okay. So I want to share this screen, and this is exactly the same slide. This is what I found. It's exactly the same slide that Grayson found, kind of thing. So you can see basically, and what I wished he did is say, hey, the brow ridges, the mandible, how far down it is, they are nothing alike, kind of thing. Obviously that is missing the jawbone, but just even at a cursory glance, those two skulls are completely different. And then when you compare it to humans, they're completely different again. But what you can see is the transitionary nature, the intermediate nature between sort of a really ape skull and a human skull.
It seemed like the one in his 3D model was, I don't know if you guys thought so, but it seemed like it was horizontally stretched to make it seem longer. The one that he had up on the screen.
3D model?
The one that Mark pulled up, that SeaScience pulled up when towards the end of the debate. It just, to me, it seemed like it was stretched to make it seem.
Well, he didn't pull up a side-by-side comparison, whereas if it was stretched, you could still see the differences, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's stretched when they're side-by-side, but if he's just showing a picture all by itself, absolutely it can be stretched, and that's why Grayson was insisting on it side-by-side. But he just didn't want to show it, or he didn't have it, or he just didn't want to look it up. I don't know. I've never seen a debate go with one person's presentation in the background constantly. Like, it was just up there the entire time. And it's like, why is it up there? Like, why does one
seen
person...
that with Kent. Kent does that all
I
the time.
was going to say, Ken has his...
Yeah, but he has his in his own window, though,
It's
right?
not
his
full
own
screen.
window, yeah.
True.
It's not full screen the whole time.
Yeah, and that's what they were talking about with the parabola-shaped tooth. I believe Big Bad Mama or Creationist Crybaby brought that up. The parabola that humans have, the really square jaw of a chimp, and then the sort of it's almost in between. Like, it's sort of it's rounded, but not as rounded as the human. And this is sort of the he was talking about the inferior view, and this document has an inferior view. It's why I like it. And it sort of goes into the skeletal differences, but it's very, very simple. And if anybody wants to read it, who is doubting that Australopithecus is a intermediary species, I'll post it in the chat. But it's sort of, yeah.
Sorry, can I just shout out to Gutsick Gibbon, who has several fantastic videos on this subject.
She's great.
Well, I would never consider, like, she is a what is she? She's a
she's an anthropologist.
Anthropaleontologist, or is she an anthropologist?
I think
Primatologist.
I thought she was a
but she did some
primatologist.
paleo.
Primatologist, yeah.
Right,
Yeah. So she is amazing, just amazing, and her level of knowledge is incredible. As sort of Grayson was saying, he's not an expert. She is. That's her field of study, kind of thing.
Well, he wanted to debate her, but she wouldn't engage with SeaScience.
Well, it's because of his the way that he.
Right. I don't blame her.
Sort of. Yeah, I don't either. I don't think I would either. I mean, it really is just, you have to be pulling him up every 2 seconds when he's interrupting, pulling him up every 2 seconds when he's like said one thing and moved on to another kind of thing. It's
you
just
had that interaction with him last week on our channel. It's
right,
like an ornery crocodile trying to debate.
Yeah, well, he was a lot better behaved in this one. I think he was drunk on your channel, to be honest with you, James. I think that was probably the case. I don't know that for sure, but
probably
I think
too, but
I think it's just too, like, you could see Grayson going, come on, let's go back to this thing, and he would just run away with it. He would just go, well, we're talking about this now, kind of thing, and he really just the way that he just avoided the topics, or I think Big Bum Mama, he didn't answer a single question of hers. And when Grayson sort of clarified my question, which I'm glad he did, that's exactly what I was asking. What differentiates apes from other primates? What we use to differentiate apes, humans have all of those attributes. There is nothing in there that we don't have, that we say, hey, this is ape attributes. That's what makes an ape.
He was addressing apes like it's just one species and saying, well, we're different than apes, but apes is the category. It's not a species. So, yeah, we're different from all the other apes, but we are in this overarching category with them. But I don't know if he didn't get that, or he was just dancing around, or he didn't want to concede the point, maybe. But I don't know.
Maybe. But the whole thing is, somebody sort of in the chat said, we're not apes, we're humans, and that's like a praying mantis saying, I'm not an insect, I'm a praying mantis. And it's like, well, you're both, like there's one's a higher category than the other.
Well, each species of ape would say that. I'm not an ape, I'm a chimp. I'm not a bonobo, I'm not an ape, I'm a bonobo. I'm not an ape, I'm an orangutan. Right. They're all going to say that, and they're all going to be distinct and think the rest of us are more alike than them, especially the orangutans. Going to look at humans and chimps and gorillas and think we're similar.
I've got to get a screenshot of James's frozen face.
He looks so incredulous, doesn't he?
I think he looks terrified.
Yeah, it does. It does.
There was a really good
is it still frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen. I mean, your sound's coming through absolutely fine, but that's a great shot. I'm going to use that for a thumbnail, James. I'm sorry, it's got to happen.
What I found when dealing with them is they actually don't mind if you say we're mammals. They're like, yeah. Well, I mean, of course we're mammals. Yeah. It's any time if you say we're an animal. If you say we're an animal, they say no. If you say we're an ape, no. But mammals, they don't care about that one. I don't know.
Are mammals a type of animal?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
But if you try to tell them that, they
So it's just the so they're using sort of these connotations that they have in their head, because the I think we've got to address the elephant in the room and address the religious belief that humans are above animals, and that animals are sort of subservient to humans and a different thing and lower than humans, kind of thing. So they've got this idea that animals are somehow a subgroup in our in our biological ecosystem, and which isn't the case at all. If there's any superior group, it's probably bacteria, but animals are just a type of life, just like plants are a type of life, and viruses are a type of kind of life. But yeah, it's this connotation that animals bad and not animals us that sort of bewilders me. I don't. There's nothing that I would consider. Yeah, they think it's an insult, absolutely. As well as the ape thing. People were literally offended. I think CRISPR in the chat said, we're all apes. And people were literally offended by that. They were like, how dare you? It's like...
I mean, it's just a descriptor. Like, we are categorically apes. Like, we're categorically animals or mammals.
Carbon, I mean...
Yeah, I felt for Grayson as well. I think that the tactics being used on him were very Hovind-esque. I think you said that, James. Yeah, Hovind-esque.
Hovind-esque,
I think,
yeah. I mean, obviously he's watched every video Ken Hovin's ever made hundreds of times.
Right.
But
yeah.
I think you can almost have a better conversation with Kent. I mean, there's a little bit more give and take, maybe. I don't know.
Can you have a better conversation with Kent? I don't think so.
Maybe that's the best way to phrase it.
No, I honestly don't think so. I think that Hovind, Hovind really just has
scripts.
Yeah, and he just has his catch points that he tries to lead people astray. Like, he'll just sort of say, well, you think that you came from a fill in the blank, a strawberry or something. It's not, I'm sick of that talking point because it's so disingenuous. But
they all use it like I mean, it's the stupidest thing, but they think it's like they'll ask you, do you think you're related to anteater? And I mean, and of course they know it's a fact of biology. Yes, we are, but they act like it's this like amazing admission that we've made, like it's something they can laugh about, but only the people think it's funny who don't know anything about the topic. Only they think it's funny.
They're conflating. So they're basically conflating the scientific definition of related, which means that you have a common ancestry, with the colloquial definition, which means that they are part of your direct family lineage kind of thing. Because this is the thing. Like, I would probably respond to that by saying, what do you mean by related? Would you say that I'm related to you, Kent? So are you related to me? Are you not? And the man of the hour, Sir Grayson based. How do you, sir?
All right, let's tear into him, guys.
Hey guys, how's everyone? I missed the first part of the after show. I was grabbing a bite to eat after the debate, but
totally fair.
A long one.
What was that?
It was quite long.
It ran long.
I expected to end a little earlier.
Well, we didn't actually agree on any kind of time frame. Originally, he asked for 30 minutes for an opening. And
what?
I'm sorry, what?
And Standing for Truth was like, no, we're not doing 30 minutes.
Wait, like 30 per person or 30 in total?
30 per person.
For him. He wanted 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And, that's horrendous.
And I was like, dude, I don't even have an opening. I'm just going to address the stuff that he brings up in his opening. And
I was critical of that, Grayson. I was critical of that.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that. But real quick, I just want to say that we did not agree to a time limit. Like, Standing for Truth basically said, and then we can have open discussion until you guys get tired of talking about it. So that was how it was pitched. So yeah, that's probably why it ran long.
He can just go. He can talk.
Yeah, he had. I was mentioning. You probably missed it, but I was mentioning some of his sort of dishonest debate tactics, like his gish galloping and his sort of deflecting to another topic without addressing one. He interrupted you like a lot, like almost constantly, kind of thing. Like
goalpost shifting.
Yeah, it kind of was just you were going to make a point, and then you started to reinforce that point with a clarifying sentence. So you would say, "Hey, this is the point that I'm making, and here's how we have assessed that to be true." And he'd interrupt on that second point, so you'd never get to hammer home what you're actually saying.
Bring up something else.
And bring up something else, yeah.
And that's what's annoying is that when it was his turn to talk, he would just go on and on and on and on and on until somebody stopped him. And he would never stop, and he would just keep bringing up more points. And then I try to bring up one point and then explain it, and he won't even let me finish one sentence without interrupting. So
that's correct, yeah. So the way that I address that is I am totally reliant on my notes. Like, I cannot do it without my notes. And if they bring up like 5 points, you write down notes for all 5 points. But then on the flip side, you've got to be able to address all of those points at once.
You go back and try to hit every single one of them.
Every single point.
That annoys them. They hate that.
Well, yeah, obviously. But the whole point is that he would just interrupt halfway through. You've got to make it clear, hey, if you bring up 5 points, I have to have the time to address all those 5 points. But like he was absolutely interrupting. So, and then gish galloping, so you couldn't address all his points, and leaving ones he can then go, oh, well, you didn't address this or address that. It was by design that you couldn't get to every single one. That was 100% designed, like no doubt about it. But apart from that, you did really well under the circumstances. I probably wouldn't debate him at all, Grayson.
Yeah,
I think he's too dishonest. Honestly, I just, I don't think. I think it would be an uphill battle to try and get him to have a fair interaction. And, I'm not sure I have enough energy to do that, to be honest with you.
Mental energy.
So under this, you did really well, Grayson. I think in the Q&A, when he couldn't interrupt, that's where you shone. Because you had the answers for stuff, and he had nothing. Like he was just basically appealing to conspiracy and just stuff like that.
If you had one good thing to say about your interlocutor tonight, what would you say there, Grayson?
That's a good question.
Well, I do think that he's actually, in terms of like time investment, I do think that he's putting in like hours into like reading about this stuff. I don't necessarily think that, okay, that's the only good. I'll stop it before I say anything not good. But I think that he is putting in hours of reading into this topic. So I think that, he did make a whole document, like in comparison with the amount of prep time. I think that he put in more prep time for the debate than I did, which I think Mark was saying that he was a little critical of me not having like a set intro. Like,
that's just what he said publicly, though. You should have heard what he was saying backstage before we started.
Oh yeah. I was like, he's too handsome, and he just makes me look ugly, and he's too young and intelligent. It's what an asshole.
Well, it was really funny actually, because before the debate started, there was like on the screen was a picture of SeaScience, who does that little like sea star kind of picture, and then there was Lucy reconstruction, and then there was me, and then like Donnie, it was like, oh, SeaScience, who do you think's the most handsome between the three? And then SeaScience said I was more handsome than Lucy, so I've gotta give it up there.
There you go.
There. It looks like a chain of evolution now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Do you think you're underprepared?
I wouldn't say that I was underprepared in that, like, I knew the things that he was bringing up. It wasn't like most of the stuff that he was bringing up was not new to me. I was aware of his arguments. I think I was aware of a lot of the data. I will say, actually, I'll clarify that. There was one thing that I didn't know that he was going to bring up, which was like the size of the sacrum being like the same, and he was saying that Lovejoy actually has these measurements. I was unaware of that, and I will do research into that later. But everything else, I felt like I was prepared enough to know why what he's saying is wrong and to be able to justify that. So I don't think that I felt underprepared or anything, but I don't know. Maybe I think that sometimes there's like a perception, because I got criticized for this too in my debate that I did with Leo against Sal and Rebecca on the Big Bang. People were saying that, look, they had all these PowerPoints prepared and the other team doesn't have anything. So it's like because one team has a slick like visual presentation and one
like Ken Hovind has his slides.
Yeah, then it offers like it kind of feels like one is more prepared than the other. But I don't know. From an audience perspective, I don't know if I came across as unprepared tonight or what. But
have you interacted with SeaScience before? Like,
not
on
really.
Your channel once.
Yeah, on your channel for like 2 minutes, and then I've had back and forths with him in live comments. But this is the first time I've actually had like a real like one-on-one discussion with him on audio.
So maybe it seemed like you just weren't you hadn't had a lot of experience dealing with like his style of argumentation. So maybe he's a handful.
He is a handful, yes, absolutely. He's difficult to deal with. Probably even more difficult than Hovind to deal with, because he kind of like, no offense, Grayson, you know I love you. The intro is where you set the points that you want to hammer down on him, right? And so if you don't set any points, it was all discussing stuff that he wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I personally, just from my personal thing, and don't get me wrong, you did great, but I would have liked to see you bring up some stuff that he can't refute and really hammer those points kind of thing, like the bipedality kind of stuff. Didn't hear much about the bipedality much at all, in my opinion. Maybe I missed that because I was in the chat fighting with people as per usual, but just points that he can't run away from kind of thing, that we sort of say, hey, these are the things how we know Australopithecus is not human. Here are the things we know Australopithecus is not like chimpanzee or other ape. You know, these traits are 100% sort of, you know, intermediate between both kind of thing. And plus I like presentations, you know that. So
yeah, I think that those points all did come up naturally in the conversation, but yeah, without like having set the intention beforehand to specifically focus on them, because my intention with the debate, maybe like the format that I wanted for the debate is just a format you don't really particularly like, where I wanted the format to be more so that SeaScience would be kind of directing what we're talking about, because he's the one bringing up the points and I'm trying to shoot down the points that he brings up. So I was approaching it as just trying to debunk the things that SeaScience is saying. So I wasn't trying to necessarily make a positive case for anything, because I felt like that was just going to come about.
You're playing defense, so
yeah,
that's the. You're taking a defensive posture.
Yes, and I definitely prefer to be in the position of taking the defense, because that's where I enjoy the most is listening to what their points are and then debunking them. So that's just what I enjoy the most. So I mean, maybe it's just a difference in the things that
style.
If I may, sure. That is totally fair, and your debate style is your own. But don't you think it might be a good idea to think ahead for some arguments he might make and preemptively shoot them down before he can really ask them? That
what in your introduction?
In the introduction. That way, in the open discussion, you can just refer back to the evidence you already presented.
So I've done that before in like a Kent Hovind debate. I did that, and I thought it was funny, but ultimately I didn't really like how it ended up, because I front-loaded all of my responses to Kent Hovind's points that he would bring up, and then he just brought them all up anyway, and I ended up having to repeat myself.
I mean, to be fair, that is Kent. That's just what
that's Kent.
Yeah. So
I think
I don't know. I guess I just wasn't really happy with how it turned out when I did do that. So I kind of like it being in the moment where they make a point, I debunk the point in response, like right after they make it, and then we can have a discussion back and forth from there.
That's fair. I mean, do what works for you, man.
Well, I don't know. I mean, obviously, like I don't know if the audience or people like you guys were listening to it and thought, you know, it would have been better to do this or that. I mean, if there's a consensus against that style, then I would definitely listen to the audience on that, because I don't want to. Obviously, I want to do the best job possible for advocating for the position that Australopithecus is not Bigfoot and really did exist. So I want to make that position as strong as possible.
Australopithecus could have been Bigfoot. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, he didn't seem to know what sort of Gigantopithecus is. That's what usually Bigfoot is referred to. You know what I mean? Like, if you're saying, "Hey, Bigfoot could be Gigantopithecus," okay, well, that's one thing. A bit, weird, but okay.
I have things to say about that.
If you, well, yeah, okay, it's a bit weird. It's a bit. I get you, Bree. I get you. But if you're saying that Bigfoot is Australopithecus, you're like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
Bigfoot.
Sorry, there's like 4 feet of difference between those two animals.
Yeah. He's just using it as a pejorative, like, because most people don't think Bigfoot exists, and so he's just saying, well, that's an older Bigfoot. It's the same type of thing, a non-existent hominid that they just created out of thin air, is what he's trying to say.
Multiple specimens of Australopithecus, including the Tong child, which I mentioned earlier, is a almost complete skull with puncture wounds from a raptor.
They have the model, they have the form, and then they just tape the bones to that. They already know what it's going to look like, Bree. It's a big conspiracy.
Taping the bones.
Gluing, taping, molding the bones. They already have.
Seriously, how do they think we put fossils together? Like, we just, toss them in a box and shake them up? Like, how do they think that we do this?
Lots of glue.
Pat's got a really good question. How much do you blame the moderator for the chaotic nature of the debate? Like so many of these debates, it comes down to reason versus irrationality. And Pat says he's done, which I don't believe in the slightest. Pat will have more to say. I don't believe that. How much do I blame Donnie for what's happening, basically?
Praise was
and praise, to be fair, So Donnie at least tried to get, like, he interjected in a few certain points and gave it back to Grayson. I'll at least give him credit for that. He did say, "Hey, you're just talking over the top of Grayson now. Stop. Let's go back. Make sure Grayson has the time to finish." I do think it's wrong of him to have one person's presentation up on the screen the entire time. That's shocking. I would never allow that to happen. If it were me, I would say take that down, because unless you're making a point from it, why is it on the screen so you can just sort of flick through it? I didn't like that. I thought it was unfair, and it irked me the entire way through. But I think he could have clamped down on him a bit harder. So and in all circumstances, like, I can't say it's entirely the moderator's fault, because you have debates where the moderator isn't even a factor in it, right? He just basically is announcing the segments, and he doesn't have to interject at all. So you can't blame a bad debate on the moderator entirely, because sometimes with two good interlocutors, they're totally unnecessary. But in a bad debate, it kind of that's what the moderator's there for. And I don't think Donnie interjected as much as he could and sort of controlled it as much as he could. Then again, James doesn't control it as much as he could, and that's because, the debates that are fiery and have this stuff are the more popular ones.
Dumpster fire.
So,
well, I mean, at
what
the
he
same
says,
time,
if they want to have a dumpster fire, it's going to be a dumpster fire. It's not his job to stop it.
Well, what was
Hey,
really
Grayson, did you think that 3D model, the Australopithecine skull that he kept pulling up, did that look horizontally stretched to you? I thought it did, but
I looked it up. I did a reverse image search of that right when he put it on, and there are only 2 instances of it appearing on the internet that can be shown from, like, and like, it's really just a Shutterstock image, and I couldn't find any source for, like, contributing it to Australopithecus.
What measurements it was based on, and nothing.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was very confused on that image. It looked like it was kind of like, either horizontally stretched, or it was like on its side at a weird angle to make it look longer than it would have been. But it was definitely something's weird about that. But in terms of the moderation, it was actually really funny, because before the debate even started, I was like, I just want to voice my concern. I'm a little bit worried about the interruption and people talking over each other. And I just want to make sure that I can complete sentences without anyone talking over me or without being interrupted. And if it gets too bad, I would request we go to timed responses back and forth without interrupting. And I think we did that maybe once or twice. But I thought what was really funny was that SeaScience was literally talking over Donnie too. Like Donnie would try to stop
a few times. Yeah, he did.
Keep going, keep talking.
Yeah, you know it's going badly for you when you're talking over the moderator.
Sorry,
I think that Donnie was trying, but I think either SeaScience. I mean, he was on his phone and his internet connection didn't seem that well, so I don't know if maybe there was a lag issue or he can't help himself. I don't know.
It's more than he can't help himself.
Yeah, I think he can't help himself, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't
think
that idea of sort of passive listening while you're talking, right? Instead of active listening, you're passively listening while you talk, kind of thing. I don't think he knows how to do that. So when he's talking, he seems to not be listening to anything else that's going on, kind of thing. Like, because at certain points he didn't even know it was Donnie talking. He just said, "Oh, I just heard talking," and ignored it. It's like, well, does it matter that it was Donnie or the other person? Like, why are you ignoring? Anyway,
here's a couple words and Moot thinks of the next point he's got to make, and he just waits. And
so, Grayson, was there any question that you asked Mark tonight that you didn't get an answer to, or that you felt like you didn't get a proper answer to?
Like the statistical probability of I don't know, maybe I wasn't wording this. I was trying to find a good clear way to word this, but whenever we find
a few times,
huh?
You made the point a few times. He should have got it.
Yeah, I tried to word it different ways too, but just the probabilities of us finding these if they're mixed and we're only finding the correct number of bones is just so astronomically small.
The chimeric argument, is that what he's making?
Right.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
okay.
Pardon me,
only
really
find
quick.
one C4.
In regards to the weirdly stretched skull, do you guys remember around what time in the debate it was first shown? I'm trying to see if I can get it.
It was towards the end, like almost the very end. I would say within the last 20 minutes or so, you should be able to find it. And he's scrolling up and down through it. Donnie wouldn't freeze on it, so I could get a good look at it to screenshot it because I was trying to find it myself.
John Rapp brought up a good point, like to try answers in Genesis and creation ministry and stuff for this skull. So I might do a quick search and see if I can find it. There was supposed to be
I found it right here.
Doing a Google search for Australapithecine skulls doesn't pull that up, and most of the ones it pulls up are not that long.
Just gonna post it in the chat
and the private.
Yeah,
chat.
if you have.
There it is. This is what Shutterstock.
This is what happened when I reverse image searched the image that he showed. I reverse image searched, and there were literally only 2 hits, and this is the only one that was a valid link. So this is the only place on the internet that I could find that image is located according to a reverse image search. So this is the only source that I could find for it. And it was just literally Shutterstock. So
it's a stock photo.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a photo, it's actually a video.
Yeah, it's like a rotation or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's only at that one angle though that it looks really stretched out like that when it first starts. Once it turns, it doesn't look so awkward. So I think I think you're right about the weird angle.
I wouldn't go to Shutterstock for a some sort of document on a scientific discovery.
Well, I would think that he was looking for one that looked more like a chimpanzee skull, probably too. Yeah, but then again, that source he had all kinds of bones and stuff on it, so maybe it was just that was on a source, but I can't find that source anywhere for Australopithecine measurements. I looked for it. I mean, the Shutterstock image, sure, but the whole source, the whole
was it there's issue with the size of the sacrum?
Yeah, so he kept talking about the size of the sacrum in particular, and I'm trying to find. I found the paper that he was referring to. I think from Lovejoy.
Well, he kept saying He kept
Hey,
saying
Maya.
the Lucy skeleton didn't have a sacrum on it, and you could see it below the pelvis.
But
and
he was
above-
talking about Littlefoot.
Oh,
The
was
one
talking
that he
about
was
Littlefoot.
saying-
Was it?
I think you said it for Lucy too.
So the one that the sacrum that he kept showing was Lucy's sacrum, and he was saying that that was a human sacrum. But in Littlefoot, when I tried to bring up other Australopithecus sacrums that have been found, he says there is no sacrum in Littlefoot, when literally it showed on the screen and you could
It's on
see
the screen.
Yes.
And he's saying it's not
It was
there. You're looking
Littlefoot,
right
yeah.
at it.
But
You're
it was
looking
like
right at
right
it. You
below
say
the
no,
pelvis.
it's not there.
Yeah, and above the coccyx on the skeleton, like you could see, it's just the little bump
Right
in
there.
the bottom of the pelvis.
Was it just
yeah.
because it wasn't labeled? He was saying it wasn't there, or what was the?
I have no
what was
idea.
the argument? Was he just like, nope, I'm not gonna look at
He
it?
said
Nope, you
he
can't
just said
show it
it's
to
not
me."
there. No, it's not there.
I don't think he knows what it is, to be honest with you. Hold on, I'll share my screen so I can point it out. And this is Littlefoot. So share screen.
Okay. I think I have that skull identified. I'm pretty sure
God.
it's a chimp skull.
Okay.
Seriously?
I thought it looked funny.
Yeah, I've just been searching a crap ton of images. I found one from some Australian museum, like an article from some Australian museums with a bunch of ape skulls all put together. The one it looks most like is a chimpanzee, a modern chimpanzee.
Did you source it from his video that Grayson shared in the side chat here?
So the original image is what I'm looking from, and I'm just sort of looking for matches. Here, I'll send a link here. This has a bunch of pictures of different ape and
did I share
human
my
ancestor
cursor?
skulls.
So this is very strange. Right now, I'm going to the source, like the paper that he claimed for the sacrum measurements, and I just did a quick. Because I haven't read this, but I just did a quick Command F search for 10.1 because I remember that was one of the specific measurements he said, and there's no instance of that measurement in this paper. So I'm going to keep looking at this paper, but where he claims he got the sacrum measurements so far doesn't track.
So
I can see
Grayson,
the sacrum right now.
Right, it's that little bump that's just below the pelvis, right?
The
So
pelvis,
it's that little, it's where the spine goes down, and that's basically the tailbone with the coccyx kind of thing. So that little bump in the middle of the legs, basically, looks like a little pee-pee. That's the sacrum.
Like John
Well,
Maddox.
it's really just the rear part of the pelvis, but
Yeah.
kind of the center of the pelvis.
But is this Lucy?
No, that's Littlefoot.
No, this is Littlefoot.
This is Littlefoot. Okay. So we don't think we have this much of Lucy, do we?
No, definitely
Littlefoot
not.
is
Not
the most
quite.
complete.
Yeah. Because he's looking pretty damn complete. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
just
the whole thing. Like,
Part of the
they don't
right
seem
hand
to.
and the feet.
Well, they don't seem to understand that if we find like all these incomplete specimens, we can say, "Hey, the complete one looks like this," because we can sort of match them all up.
Right.
It's the weirdest thing. It's sort of, well, you can't tell if this was and it's like, yeah, of course we can. Come on.
I
now.
was so shocked when he said that was a gorilla skull.
Yeah.
It's like, have you never
no.
seen a gorilla skull before? And like,
Was there sagittal crest? I didn't even see that part.
like he showed a more close-up image of the Littlefoot skull, and it just, he said, "Oh, but the rocks could have deformed
by
its
this
shape."
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it could have been a gorilla skull that was deformed. I'm like, do you know the size of this skull? Do you know how much smaller it is than a gorilla skull? Like,
And then he said it
can't
could have
be
been
adolescent.
eroded.
Yeah, he
Remember when he said it
talked
could have
about
been
how like there's
eroded?
dimorphism between the younger and the older gorillas, but like there is though, and younger gorilla skulls don't look like that. So we know it's not just a smaller, younger gorilla because it doesn't look like a young gorilla.
Yeah, and like let's say hypothetically it was deformed, that leaves marks on the bone. You can tell that very easily.
Mm-hmm.
There's my girl, Beamsy. There you go.
Yeah, so this is the skull that he was showing. That's the Littlefoot skull that he was showing, and he's trying to say it's a gorilla
jaw is
skull.
a beast jaw, isn't it? Look how strong that jawline is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like
really
the sort of-
humans for you.
But compare that to the skull he was showing that was obviously from a baboon or something that came from Shutterstock. And
Before
you
we
say,
move from this
how-
picture, there's no sagittal crest when you look at that. Like it would run from
Oh.
yeah,
There-
if it was a
the brow
I
line
can't
to the
really
head
tell from the
kind of thing.
photo. There might be a very small one, but not near as big as you'd see in a gorilla.
It's not
The
apparent.
shape of the head's just completely wrong.
oh, the Japanese mermaid.
Oh, beautiful.
That's
Or you want us to talk about the Japanese
Yeah, we
mermaid?
have.
Because I can tell you it's a monkey and a fish stitched
no,
together.
I didn't. I, for some reason, I was on this page before I went to the other one. But
I've seen that thing under an X-ray.
Whoa, guys. Whoa. I'm sorry, but I have to derail it really quickly because I was just reading this paper from Lovejoy that he cited, and I just came across I came across this line that I just feel like I have to read out loud and share.
of course.
Humans have the least complex penis morphology of any primate.
That Dr.
The more
Hogan.
you know.
Are you calling my penis unsophisticated? How
Yes.
dare
You don't
you,
have a
sir?
background.
I mean,
That
I
is
have
a
to
direct
question by
quote.
what metric?
That is a
Homage
direct quote.
penis.
I mean,
You
the
have
funny
a
thing
you
is
have a
humans-
very simple penis.
The funny thing is, on
Wow.
average, humans have the largest of any primate.
Oh, we've
But
seen
it's
it,
too
the Ken
simple. It's
Hogan
not
penis
it's not
chart.
complex enough.
Yeah.
It's
Fun
big
fact:
and
gorillas
basic, is what
actually have
he's
the
saying.
smallest. Not
It's
even
big
going by
and
comparison
basic.
to the body. Just absolute smallest.
Are
Yeah,
you
it's
saying
because
have a
the
small
spectrum.
gorillas have a
I
smaller
wouldn't
penis
tell
than
a
a mouse
gorilla that
lemur?
though.
Okay, ape.
Oh,
Let's go.
Okay.
Ape.
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 Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with. I'll believe
Yeah.
about ape.
I
That'd
wouldn't
be
tell
bad.
the
You better have a
gorilla
little
he had a
gibbon
small
making you look
penis
bad.
though. That's a recipe for disaster.
You know,
But
he
yeah,
doesn't
I
care
think-
because his women are his women no matter what. He has his whole little
Well, that's
harem.
true.
That's
Yeah,
why his
gorillas
penis
use
is
their
small because he doesn't have
muscles
to.
to secure their mates.
That's
So-
kind of why we have larger penises because we're supposed to be not supposed to be. I shouldn't say we're supposed to be. We naturally have a proclivity towards being promiscuous. So the larger
Yeah.
penis allows you to scoop out your rival's leavings when you're mating.
Well,
so
chimpanzees
I
and
loved your
bonobos have huge
favorite ape
balls.
question. Bree. I loved your favorite ape question at the end and
I-
how like SeaScience said bonobo, and I was like, well, that's an interesting choice. You like a lot of promiscuity, do you? Like, because bonobos are famously-
bisexual promiscuity.
Right.
The gayest non-human ape.
Yeah.
I really think that he was completely making up that quote from Lovejoy because this is the paper.
Wow,
That he
Beansy just
quoted.
gonna drop that on
What
us.
was
And
the
I've-
quote? What was the quote?
He was saying that the sacrum is this size and it's different than all the models because Lovejoy recorded the original and he put these measurements. And I'm looking at the paper that he sourced that from, and there's no mention of that whatsoever. And in the debate, I even brought up, hey, that paper's about Ardipithecus, not Australopithecus. And he said, oh,
Right.
yeah, but it's about Ardipithecus, but it's comparing to Australopithecus. That's why he had to list the measurements. And I'm like, I'm looking at that paper, and I'm not seeing any of that. So I have really no idea. I'll link the paper. This is what he cited, I'm pretty sure.
He was
Thanks,
dropping. He
Pete,
said he
for
was
that
dropping
link.
them in the side chat when you were talking about it. So hopefully you grabbed it.
No,
So
he
we
was
should look
dropping
at
it. He said in the normal chat. He never
in the live chat. Oh,
He never put
wasn't
anything
dropping
in the
in
private
normal-
chat.
I was in the normal chat the entire time, and he didn't drop shit in there.
I didn't see him even come in there when I tried to tag him. And
Mind you, I do have him blocked, so maybe I don't see that.
Well, he didn't put anything in the private chat.
okay,
But he did in his presentation, it did source the claim, and it said from Lovejoy, 2009, paper on Ardipithecus ramidus. I looked at Lovejoy's paper from 2009 on Ardipithecus ramidus. There's no mention of any of the measurements for the sacrum that he claimed.
do they even mention Australopithecus in that Ardipithecus article? Does that even come up?
I think it might come up. Yeah, it says early Australopithecus. There's a section on it.
Okay.
Just
Like
really
comparative
briefly.
anatomy kind of stuff?
Just briefly in the
it does
introduction.
mention Yeah, it does mention afferences in sort of the diagrams and things like that.
Okay.
It's comparative, though, right?
Base
Because
theory?
it's talking about the evolution of Australopithecus to,
Okay.
Homo sapiens kind of thing. So, like, his own paper refutes him, and this is, and you brought this up, was very good. You sort of said he was cherry picking, and he sort of just brushed away. I mean, no, I'm not. And it's like, well, of course you are. Of course you are.
By the way,
Like, you're not drawing
if I
from
may.
the conclusion. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Doctor.
I have to fact check you. In that 2009 Lovejoy paper, he says humans have the least complex penis.
That's what I said.
I thought you said sophisticated.
No, Mark said sophisticated. When I was reading it, I read complex.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was a joke when I said we had a basis.
Okay, never mind.
I'm looking at this graph Beamsy has up here. It's quite interesting.
Oh, Beamsy.
Yeah, that's about right.
That.
I'm actually I'm shocked about
that.
gorillas. I'm very shocked about gorillas.
Well, they don't need a big one because they don't have much competition. Like, you have one male with 20 females.
And the males actually move out and they live in little gay troops for a while they're young. It's kind of sweet.
Do
They
that.
like cuddle together and have gay sex.
Gotta look after your bros.
Practicing for when they start their own little troop of gorillas, and when the elder of the troop dies, and then they all can fight for that position.
Gorillas are kind of sweet, actually. It always gets me that that kid that fell into a gorilla enclosure, and the gorilla sort of protected the child.
Harambe?
And sort of tried to. No, it wasn't Harambe. Please.
That was.
Well, Harambe. Okay, so this is the thing. Child falls in Harambe's cage. Harambe starts to drag the child round by the leg, kind of thing. Which in gorilla behavior towards children, that's not unusual. It's just a gorilla child is a lot more durable than a human child. I don't think Harambe was trying to hurt that child. He was just scared and wanted to know what to do with it, sort of thing. Like, he didn't know what to do. It's just we can't allow a human child to be hurt, so we shot Harambe.
I think it was out
Well, there's
of
a
the abundance
scene-
of caution that maybe it would have.
There's a scene of some wildlife photographers taking pictures of gorillas, and one of the male gorilla walks by it and just grabs one of the photographer's ankles and just drags him about 3 feet and just lets him go. And that's what it was. I think that's what Harambe was doing with the child in that situation. Obviously, they had to do what they had to do, or whatever they felt they had to do at the time. I'm not going to get into that debate, but I don't.
Mark, do not click the link Beamsy just put in the chat.
Okay.
So, fun fact.
Look, I unless somebody's checked it for me, I never click any of Beamsy's links. It's a recipe for disaster. Sooner or later, you'll see a penis that you were not
Probably
expecting.
a good idea.
Just I'm
clicking it.
8.
Oh, okay. Wow. Look at all those.
So
which one was your favorite? Just say the letter.
Does anybody know where the word gorilla actually comes from?
No, enlighten us.
So the term comes from these ancient Carthaginian explorers from Carthage, the rival of Rome. North Africa.
Are you going to talk about Hanno the Traveler?
Yeah. So they sent explorers, kind of like a really ancient Columbus, out past the Straits of Gibraltar into the Atlantic. They sent one guy north and one guy south. And the guy went north all the way to like the UK. And the guy that went south went all the way around the curve, right around to that little island in like the little armpit of Africa there. And they actually captured some gorillas and decided they call them gorillae.
They thought they were people, though.
They thought they were legitimately people. They didn't think that they were monkeys. They thought, look at these hairy people. And then they took them, they captured them, they put them on their ship, and they said, but the people that we captured, the hairy ones, were way too wild and crazy, and we had to kill them, and we only brought back their skins. But these are gorillae. So that's the expedition from which we got the name gorilla.
I think they kept one skull, didn't they? And it was supposed to have sat in the trophy room, or not the. It was in like somebody's display for allegedly and disappeared. But
oh wow,
yeah.
There's I only knew about the skins.
Speaking of discovering things, Tiktaalik got brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Just really quick, I would like to address something that some creationists said in a debate a little while ago. I think you were in it, Mark. We did not find multiple, sorry. With the discovery of Tiktaalik, we found multiple individuals, like of various sizes and completeness, and then we used all the details from those individuals to create a composite, which, if I recall, the creationists made a big deal about, but that's pretty normal in biology. Like, that's what you have to do a lot of the time, especially in paleontology.
Well, and they had overlapping bones.
Yeah.
So we know that they were all the same species. But yeah, like everyone knows that there were 3 individuals there. I mean, like they're very apparent. They're transparent about that fact. It's not like they're claiming there's only one individual. The funniest
the creationists hear that and they say, well, what they did is they got 3 different fossils, put them together, and claimed it was one Tiktaalik kind of thing. And it's like, no, nobody is saying that.
Well, Jamie said a Tiktaalik was a crocodile skull.
Yep, that's what I was about to bring up. Was he
really?
What crocodile has has gills?
Yeah.
It's obvious. I'm sorry. It's obviously like an early tetrapod. It's not a diapsid at all. There's no. It's got fish structure to its skull, not diapsid structure.
And you know what I found the worst part of that debate? The thing that made me most angry about that debate was SeaScience claiming he had a side-by-side picture of Australopithecus and a chimpanzee skull, telling you that he can just find it if he goes through his entire frigging document, going through the entire thing, bringing up point after point after point that you weren't supposed to refute or address or whatever. And then, basically not having it at the end. If he got to it, I might have gone, well, that was a roundabout way to get to it, but okay. But, he didn't even get to it.
And Donnie was like scrolling through and he couldn't find it. Oh, man. Yeah. And then we just had to Google it, and then he rejected what we found on Google.
Yeah.
Hey,
Donnie had to manage his presentation.
Pretty guy / gal.
Yeah, that was really actually. I thought it was
so
hilarious
annoying.
that he made Donnie like manage that whole thing.
Slide.
He was like, "Look, I'm
Kindle
only going to be
speed.
on my phone. I can't share my screen. So Donnie, you need to do all this." So then Donnie had to bring on Praise to help out. It was just really funny to me.
It drives me crazy. Like, seriously, if you're going to debate, just get a little bit organized. You don't have to be incredibly organized, just a little bit, I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm being snobbish. Yeah, how dare you, Grayson? Look, I've already dealt with you, all right? You'll
That's true. I've been thoroughly reprimanded.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I think it's fair. I think that because it, as I said before, it annoys me when flat earthers do a rebuttal as their intro. It annoys me. It does. So I want to be intellectually consistent, kind of thing. So I don't think that's kind of fair, because I've had it before where I've gone in there, done a series of points, and the flat earther is just like, here's all your points, and I'm rebutting them in the intro, and it's like, if you're going to debate, I don't know.
Or when they go first and they say that, and then you do your intro, and they say, well, you didn't address any of my points in your intro. And it's like, yeah, it's my intro. It's not the rebuttal. I'll get to your points later.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just offer the differing opinion. I normally don't really care for intros or openings. Whenever I watch a debate, I normally skip them, get right to the open discussion, because that's the most interesting part to me. So I prefer it when like one side brings up points, then the other side addresses those points and dismantles and debunks them. And yeah, I just prefer that style, I guess.
We could debate about it. We could debate, is the intro necessary for a debate? How about that? We could debate that.
But I would say that my intro would just be a rebuttal of your opening.
How dare you?
I mean, hey, I would lose the debate if I made an intro, an opening statement to that debate, Mark.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's an automatic loss, isn't it? Wow.
So I would have to just rebut your opening.
Yeah. Actually, that's something I wanted to say, Bree. I sent that an email to Debate Cafe if we're going to debate. So
about the morality of
yes,
animals.
Do animals have morality? Yeah.
Wait, who's debating they don't?
Who's debating what?
Who's debating animals do not have morality?
I will be in the positive position.
Yep.
And who's the negative?
Me.
Mark.
So you don't think that animals have morality?
No.
That would be a good debate.
Oh, wait, are we just saying this as a flat statement, or are we going species by species?
Flat statement.
Just like non-human.
I don't think.
So does that
non-human.
mean
I don't think any animal has a codified
then
moral system.
yes?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely down for it. I want to make it happen. I think it'll be like my first, well, not my first debate, but it'll be my first one on that platform anyway.
Debate. It's really good.
I haven't had a debate since I debated Otangelo back in like 2020.
Oh no! Yeah, that's an
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah. I think I did well.
What's that about?
The necessity of a creator God.
The necessity of a creator God is necessary.
Mark, are you familiar with I think it was an example of naked mole rats, where they were like determining like self-sacrificial behavior in naked mole rats, and they found out that, and this was what was so fascinating to me, was that they found out that it like breaks down on genetic basis. So one naked mole rat would not sacrifice itself for one sibling, something that shares 50% of its DNA. It wouldn't sacrifice itself for two siblings, but for three siblings, something that has like, if you were just adding it up, one sibling has 50%, one has 50%, one has 100%.
Yeah,
so there's 150% compared to the individual, and all of a sudden they would sacrifice themselves for three siblings, and anything that's three or more, they'll do self-sacrificial behavior. But like, it was really, really interesting is when they extended it to cousins, because cousins only have 1/8 of a genetic similarity. Yeah. And the naked mole rat would not sacrifice itself for three cousins, but it would for 9. So as soon as you get over the 100%, then all of a sudden self-sacrificial behavior becomes like in play.
And that's so cool because it's like early examples of, or like early levels of eusocial behavior that's found in naked mole rats, and they're doing genetic studies on that shows the same the same genetic kind of directions that we see with diploidy and insects, right? In like hymenopterans, for instance. Or I'm sorry, I'm derailing. Go ahead. Grayson.
Derail all you want. No, derail away.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a derailment.
Yeah, I mean, you're derailing the derailment. I think it'll actually get us back on topic, maybe. So go.
Yeah. So, but there's things that we have to cross this boundary, right? It sounds like for what you're saying from this genetic level, where they're actually able to sense their relatedness to another member of their colony, right? And kind of assess their behaviors. It's really the only example that I can think of that's not an insect that has that kind of behavioral characteristics. And I sort of wonder if
no, that's not true. Meerkats do. Meerkats' sentry duties are based upon how well they're fed and how well they've done in hunting and things like that. So the ones that have been more successful in getting food and stuff will take time off foraging and hunting to stand sentry duty.
Yeah, they have a sense of fairness.
Yeah, well, I mean,
does sense of fairness equate to that just the idea of a feeling of reciprocity is what we're talking about? I don't think that equates to a moral system.
So if something is unfair and I'm upset about that, it seems like I'm upset about a perceived injustice, which I would think would imply morality.
I don't think it does. I think that when you're applying that sense of unfairness to others in the colony, like you're saying, hey, because don't forget, animals will only do it when it's them involved, right? So what we're talking about with a codified moral system and morals being over the entire population, it's when we see that something's unfair on somebody else, right? So they don't get the same share and you get upset. To the best of my knowledge, what animals will do is they won't get the same share. They will get upset, but they won't get upset on somebody else's behalf.
I'll have to look at.
I'm not showing my hand for this debate. Sorry.
Okay, well I'm showing everything. I've got my entire.
You go ahead, lay it all out for me. Let me.
Yeah. All right. Here are my arguments, and here are the ways to get around them and completely destroy me. Here we go.
He's showing his whole sacrum.
Yeah, his whole sacrum.
May I bring up a hypothetical, please?
Please don't measure my sacrum, Grayson. Please.
It's the same size as a chimp's.
Damn! He's got me. Sorry, doctor. Go ahead. Go ahead, mate.
Okay. So have you heard about how some monkey species will let out calls to signal danger, like for specific predators and stuff?
Yes.
So let's say we have two different monkey species living in similar situations.
The ones that do it are cachapun monkeys, I believe, are one of the species that do it. Cachapun.
I think they're a type of capuchin. But,
capuchin, yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Beams has got us again. There he is.
Beamsy literally changed his picture immediately when you said that. That was so fast.
I know. He's the best lurker. The best.
Both of these species, both species A and B, will at least sometimes alert that a predator is near when they are also near family, which gives away their position, but makes it more likely for their family to get away to safety.
Yes.
Now, let's say species A always will send out an alarm call as soon as they see a predator. Like, it's absolutely instinctual. They immediately do it. But then let's say we have species B, where sometimes they do let out that sound and sometimes they hide, indicating they have more control over whether or not they do this response. Which species would be more moral for preserving their species?
I think you could say, I don't think you could, from my mind, I don't think that is morality. It's just the feeling of empathy in practice. So what we're talking about with animals, I would certainly say they sort of have a proto-morality. They do have the feelings that we base morality upon. But morality is a code of conduct. It is something that is sort of ubiquitous throughout society. Like, all members of that society act in a certain way according to a code of conduct, or they ought to act in a certain way according to a code of conduct. So I guess what I would challenge is whether that code of conduct is actually a thing in animals, because they don't have the communication ability to codify like we do, and rather it is a proto-morality where they feel feelings, but it's not necessarily something that is codified in society, if that makes sense.
So you feel like morality has to be codified to be morality?
Yes, I mean that is the usual sort of definition of morality that people use. I'm open to others, I'm open to other definitions, but that's the one that I would use.
If that's how you define it, could a feral child, like a kid abandoned in the woods as a baby and grows up without any human input, could they have morality by your definition?
Well, morality is only applied to populations, not to individuals. So when you're talking about what individuals are doing, like whether something is according to the code of conduct or not, you're talking about ethical behavior. That's ethics, not morality per se. So our understanding of how our actions apply to the moral system are ethics. So when you're talking about morality, you're always talking about a societal standard or some sort of population standard, not necessarily like individual actions.
Well, then let's say this feral child is let's just go with the common one, is adopted by a pack of wolves. They are now part of a group, if not an interbreeding population. If they follow the rules that the pack sets down, are they moral? And if they disobey those rules, are they amoral?
I would say not. I would say that sort of a proto-morality where they would be sort of subjected to almost punishments if they violate certain behavior, but I wouldn't say it's a sort of a moral system. It's just that the alpha might be offended if they do something or upset if they do something. Because don't forget, in that wolf pack, they could not do anything at all and just irritate the alpha, and the alpha might bite them. Issue a punishment for no reason whatsoever.
We're gonna have so much fun with canine social dynamics. Oh boy.
Okay, we'll leave it for the debate then. We're going to call it quits. Leave it for the debate. I look forward to being absolutely crushed, like seriously.
Wolves don't have alphas. That's
slammed
a
around
common misconception.
Totally
Grayson, let him think that. It helps me. Okay.
or any wolf in the pack, right? So my point still stands. Yeah, I think I knew that deep down that this alpha beta thing going around is completely freaking wrong. I know it has nothing to do with wolf behavior.
I understand your analogy just to demonstrate group dynamics within a social species. Though I am with you there, and that is something that we're definitely going to have to go into. There's wolves aren't going to be high on my list though, so look a little bit behind that to social species.
I figure you're going to be going to apes and primates primarily, maybe cetaceans as well. Is it cetaceans? Cetaceans, dolphins and whales.
Cetaceans,
dolphins and whales. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as synapsids go, but there's going to be some exploration of morality in diapsids as well. I'll let you try to wrap your head around that.
Look, I'm looking forward to. Look, I'd love to be proved wrong, but I don't think I am. So there you go.
Mark, I had a professor of biology in college that every year, he was a geneticist, and every year he would pose the same question to the class: can anybody think of one thing that is unique about humans, something that we don't see any other animals doing, that we don't even see the seeds or the traces of? Yeah.
Sweating through every pore on your skin.
Do you sweat through every pore?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying that sweating is uniquely human?
Not sweating in general, but I guess the level of sweating that humans do is
his point was that you can find things that are to a higher degree in humans, or to a lesser degree. But he was also saying
definitely
the manner of degree, and that
horses lather. And,
I got one. We're the only species that document our existence on artificial means.
Like, what do you mean artificial means?
Like keeping record of our existence, like writing stuff down or carving stuff.
That's not true, actually. Chimpanzees have been well documented putting stones within a tree, kind of thing. They put a stone in a tree.
Leaving markers and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Cetaceans, like orca packs, will also seemingly pass down stories to one another. Sperm whales, too, I think.
Like in song.
Maya Atkinson in the chat said slavery, but there are ants that do slavery. There are slaver ants.
Well, not only that, but most ants keep aphids as sort of
cook our food. Yeah.
Well, that's like a domesticated animal. That's like a cattle or something. But
because they provide protection for the aphids in exchange for getting food from them.
Yeah, the slaver ants are straight up just like capturing ant babies and raising them as slaves. Like that.
Yeah, I got a fun one here. Azho64 says cook food and control fire. We are not the only species to do that. There are birds, I believe, in Australia that will spread brush fires to flush out prey animals.
So I'll level with you. Like, I think in the class, I think I said something like pay taxes or something like that. And he listed an example of animals paying taxes, like like everything that anyone brought up, and he'd been teaching this class for 35 years, and not in 35 years had anybody brought up one single thing that, I mean, this guy was a geneticist, he was a PhD. No one had brought up a single thing that he could show was uniquely human and not just like a higher degree than in animals. But if I was to take that class over again, what I would ask him about, because I really do want to hear his response on this, I would say chins. Humans are the only animals with chins.
I thought like other primates had very, very rudimentary chins.
I think that isn't considered among apes.
Chat earlier. Other apes
I'm thinking among all animals
compared to ours.
Among all animals,
we are the only animal. We are the only animal that I am aware of that actually attacks an individual based on a variation in sexual preferences.
Ooh. That's a good one. Are any other animals homophobes? Anybody know?
Well, not just homophobes, but also on the aspect of you'll never see during the peafowl experiment in India when you actually had the peahens that looked like peacocks and the peacocks that were looking like peahens, there was no violence between them when they were discovered not to be the appropriate sex in accordance to their identified gender.
Well, I found an interesting article. Can animals be homophobic? So.
Oh dear.
Oh, here we go.
Let's see.
I mean, I guess it would depend. Like, would this be a single instance or like continuously exhibiting this behavior?
The only two studies I found on it was an Indian studies, which was in Hindi, that I had to get a friend to translate. Ow, you freaking... Sorry, someone wants attention.
Hindi's not that bad, dude. Relax.
It was in the Hindi language, and I had to get translated. But it was my cat that attacked me. That basically expressed the idea that sometimes peafowl express the opposing gender. They're the only animal that regularly expressed any aspect of transsexuality within the species that I am aware of. And another one was within lemurs. Some of them are actually homosexual, but they don't actually have homophobia within lemurs. They're the only two studies that I've been able to find that had a basis in it, but I've never found anything else around that. I've seen blogs and reports and skews, but I've never seen any other articles that actually went into depth about it. So I believe that statement holds true.
Yeah, the only thing that this is showing is the 1995 study that describes a young adult chimpanzee that refused to grunt submissively and seemed to bully the females, and the other males in the troop assaulted him and exiled him from the group for 3 months. But I don't think that that's like, I mean, the fact that he refused to flirt with females or was bullying the females, I don't really think that can be translated to a sexual orientation. So that's the best of that article.
And that was also in captivity.
I know that gay swans will sometimes steal chicks from other couples. Which is fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, penguins will raise an egg that's not theirs. I don't think they steal it, though. They just get abandoned eggs and
sometimes they'll do it with a rock.
By the way, base theory, behold, an animal with a chin.
Where?
I posted it in the chat.
Oh. Well, I think everyone will want to see this, so I will share it. Behold.
Behold.
Now
the chin
behold.
of destiny.
Behold, the giga chin.
That's a tiny chin. I shared one. I think
long.
I shared one. I don't know if you all think it's a chin or not, but Mark, pull it up and see.
Okay.
It's not a Beamsy link, is it?
I just love this. No, it's not a Beamsy link. Come on now.
No, I still have a Beamsy link open though. I'm keeping the monkey decks. I'm sorry.
Nice.
Well, it is your fault for bringing it up in the first place.
Oh, look. Is that SeaScience? I'm sorry, SeaScience. It's a cheap shot. It's beneath
like,
me,
I mean,
and
I guess also
it's a beautiful
if you
boy.
or if you want to fight on whether or not other animals have chins, how do you define a chin?
Look, I have just been told that humans are the only animals that have chins. Okay,
Citation, please.
I'm just a sheep who doesn't do my own research. Okay, I just parrot the opinions of others.
Just going from Google, it says the protruding part of the face below the mouth, formed by the apex of the lower jaw. So if any animal has a protuberance below the mouth,
but it's got to be skeletal. Like the thing with the manatee that Bree just showed, I would say is not a chin because like the actual skull of the manatee doesn't have like a protruding.
It's recessed. Yeah, that's why I was like,
okay, so
maybe.
it has to be present in the skeleton.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. In that case, I think the dinosaur I shared would count.
No, it doesn't. No protrusion. It's flat.
Well, there's a point at the bottom.
No, there has to actually be a protrusion within the bone itself, not actually at the point at the bottom. Where is this? The chin isn't just the lower part of your face. It's a specific term of a little piece of bone that extends from the jaw.
Yeah, because doesn't it have to extend anteriorly, like not just like extending downward or something?
It has to extend horizontally out from the jaw, but not from the bottom of the jaw. It has to be from the central point at the lower jaw.
It's got to be like kind of forward facing, like out or whatever.
Yes.
All right, give me a few minutes.
What about an elephant?
Elephants are weird. I don't think they would count.
They do have
Maybe
really
I'll
weird
just go
lower
and
jaw.
I'll get in contact with my professor and I'll see what he comes up with when I say chin. I cannot be the only person to ever bring up chins, right?
I've heard that before, that humans
I've
are the
heard
only,
it before.
but I'd always heard
Right,
humans the only primate with chins. So maybe
I've heard the only animal with chins. No other animals have chins, I've heard.
Wait, I'm looking up elephant skulls now. Mark, you might be right.
Is that a chin?
Count that as a chin.
No, that's from the bottom. It has to be for the center point.
Oh, come on now. That's a chin.
Wait. I just Googled. This is according to The Atlantic. I don't know if you take it as a source or whatever, but the article is titled, "No, Really, Other Animals Don't Have Chins." And it says, in response, several readers argued that other animals, including horses, cats, and elephants, do have chins. They don't. The critical point here is that the chin isn't just the bottom bit of the face or the front part of the lower jaw. It is specifically a lump of bone that protrudes forward from the lower jaw. So I don't know, that's just what The Atlantic is saying, but they say that the elephant doesn't count.
I just linked an actual article from Evolutionary Anthropology called "The Enduring Puzzle of the Human Chin."
Oh, well, he totally one-upped my source.
So is The Atlantic there.
There's BMC posting scientific articles.
Yeah, I always go to scientific articles. I can give you plenty of other articles, but one from the
give us the science.
It's already linked inside, but that's from the Evolutionary Anthology. It's called "The Enduring Puzzle of the Human Chin."
So what do they say?
Again, it has to be from the central point of the jaw and of a horizontal chin bone protrusion from the center of the lower jaw.
Well, I think that was an example. Did SeaScience bring that up in answering your question, Mark, when he was saying, "Oh, well, I already explained all the differences between humans and the other apes"?
So my question was badly worded. It was.
Did I understand your question at least?
Yeah, you understood it correctly. Okay. Absolutely. Like, so of all the things that we sort of say in primates, like what defines apes as not like other primates, humans have exactly those traits. So sort of, the way he was sort of, and what Chat was saying was stuff like, oh, they do art and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, elephants do art. Come on, you can't, these criteria are silly.
Ravens do too.
Yeah. So the chat obviously didn't understand what I was asking because I was talking about sort of more morphological traits kind of thing. So There's nothing in the traits that we go, hey, this is an ape that humans do not fall into. Like, there's nothing. So yeah, I just, you got it right. It was pretty badly worded, though. I do concede that.
Well, the funny thing is that I think I was trying to explain what you were asking, and I explained it multiple ways, and he still wasn't getting it. So I don't think, no matter how you worded that, I don't think he was going to get it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't think he wanted to get it.
He was just going to dodge it. Even if he got it, he didn't want to say that there's nothing, so he just acted like
he dodged a lot of questions. He dodged Big Bad Mum's questions. I think that they were in there as a creationist crybaby, and sort of the questions were just like, he's just like, no, I'm not going to answer it, Grayson, and then you'd say something and go, no, that's just wrong. But
how much
he
did he
didn't
pay
really
for that
address.
One?
Yeah.
Yes, how much you paid for your super chat?
Yeah, Victoria,
he really doesn't like me.
Yeah, Victoria, I've gone through and had a look, and in accordance to the article that I've read through, if Mark wants to put it in chat, it
what am I
says
putting in chat?
That link to the article that I put through, the enduring puzzle, the human chin. They said that some scientists determined that elephants have a chin, but in accordance to the links there, it doesn't. It says only humans do.
Okay.
Beamsy, question. So, I know some animals have a predentary bone. Could a predentary bone be considered a chin?
I don't know. I'm still reading because I've got the whole article up. I'm about 2/3 of the way through at the moment.
Okay, because that would be a projection of bone from the end of the dentary.
Does Sasquatch have a chin?
Humans are Sasquatch, confirmed. Yeah, so that's what I would bring up. If I was taking his class again, I would bring up chins, and I would just want to hear what his answer would be to that. But
I would be interested to see what his answer in regards to what I said would be.
What did you say again?
In regards to that, we're the only animal that actually expresses violence towards others' sexuality.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one.
That is a great one.
Yeah.
I think that largely because he was like over 70 years old. So I would imagine that most of the research that he's familiar with, probably maybe like stuff looking into sexual orientation, is maybe after his time, I would guess.
I could.
Stephen Fry said it. Humans are the only animals that are homophobes. So, if Stephen Fry said it, I'm sorry, it has to be true. It's Stephen Fry.
Well, what would you count as homophobia? Really, is the question I want to ask, because
I would say discriminating based on sexual orientation, right?
Well, but let's say you have a social species where one male tries to mount another male in dominance and the other male bites it. Would that count as a case of homophobia?
I think that if the other males or females that were uninvolved in the incident turned against the one, then it would. But if it was just an individual thing, no, because that could happen between male and female, and we wouldn't say that was any kind of.
Well, it's kind of hard to tell, right? I mean, we don't know the motivations of animals, really. I mean, we can sort of make a few inferences of what they are given certain stimuli, but
even if the whole pack turned. Even if the whole pack turned on them, we wouldn't be able to say. Maybe the one mounting did the wrong ritual before it mounted, or maybe it mounted wrong, and that's what made them mad. Or maybe it wasn't their partner to mount, and it didn't have anything to do with the gender or the sex or whatever. It was just that they weren't allowed to have a sexual relationship with that member of the pack. And we don't know.
Good point on pointing out we don't know their motivations. Maybe the question should be altered a bit. What definitive characteristics do only humans have? Because we cannot be definitive about the motivations of animals.
Okay, what would be a better way of wording it then? A third party does not judge other sexualities, and not judged by a third party in other species would be a nice way to put it. I think would be.
That's a nice way. It's a little wordy, but yeah.
But what other species has a nude face with eyebrows? Is there any other species with a nude face that has eyebrows?
It's more the aspect of
The monkeys do, don't they?
Oh,
When it comes to what Dinopoulos had actually said, we can actually see when you break the cohesion of the group. So if you try and sexually engage with someone in the wrong way or the wrong person, that usually stands out like a sore thumb. They have never actually experienced it when in a situation in which two partners have actually engaged in the sexual relationship, that a third party has come in and attacked them simply because they've engaged in that sexual relation. That's...
Oh, I almost had one. I was going to say like humans are the only ones that poison themselves for fun, but that's not true because of that amaretto tree that they go and like the elephants eat the fruit that have dropped and become alcohol and stuff.
Yeah,
leave grapes out.
Alcohol.
Leave the grapes out in the
Yeah.
sun and see what the glass could do with them.
Yeah, like have you ever seen that footage of like giraffes that have become drunk on the amaretto tree and they like wander around and stagger around?
You guys
wild.
check this out, okay? There's these millipedes in Madagascar, right? And the lemurs, they'll get them all aggravated, so they secrete their poison, and then they'll rub it all over themselves and get all tripped out, like hallucinate and stuff. It's pretty.
Oh,
pretty
that's
rad.
like dolphins and pufferfish, isn't it?
That's like humans and licking toads. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel judged.
what? Why do you feel judged?
I said that licking toads.
Oh
I've been
god,
making
Beamsy's
videos
already
about
added
licking toads.
Here you go,
Yeah, but
drunk Beverly.
Oh yeah.
I still think that my statement stands true in regards to we're the only ones that will actually attack another individual based on their sexuality exclusively.
Hey, Beamsy, can you
No,
find
I
one
think
with the
that's
lemurs and
the
the
best
millipedes?
answer we've got so far.
Sorry, I missed you, Bray.
I just asked Beamsy if he could find the one with the lemurs and the millipedes. After this
Oh,
one.
I've got that one already up on queue.
Oh.
Alright.
Look at
Nice.
taking the fruit
And
down.
just to settle.
Do you
the
want to
chin
just get the
discussion-
link and I can just play it? You know.
You can just blow Beamsy up, right?
Oh, please no, I'm not.
Look,
in the
I
mood for
don't
that
want
sort of thing.
blowing and Beamsy to be anywhere near one another. To be quite honest with you.
That's why I'm still here. I'm waiting for the
Right.
Beamsy blow.
Right.
Anyway, to put the chin discussion to rest,
Send her the link.
if
Beamsy.
predentaries do not count as chins, then I will concede humans are the only animals with chins. But I do think that predentaries could count.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I
but
actually have
as I
one.
said, I've gone through and there's a whole heap of links there, but there's nothing
I got it. I
about
got it. I got it.
defining
Don't worry
what a
about
chin
it.
is.
I got it. I got it.
Did you see
I'm-
that?
I'm here.
Yeah, did you
So-
see the link in regards to the article? If you go through all the reading down the bottom of it,
Which one? The online library dot Wiley?
yeah,
I am
that's
submitting
the
one more example of an animal that maybe has a chin.
Their favourite poison is found crawling in the forest,
Here we go. Aw.
like pufferfish, millipedes.
Don't forget to pause for copyright, Mark.
Oh, it's so cute.
That doesn't stop.
What? What?
Don't you
Yeah,
gotta
pause about every
few
20
for copyright?
seconds and talk for
Oh,
a
for
second.
fuck's sake. All right. Okay. Yeah.
The lemurs
Yeah, yeah.
seeking them out.
Yeah, this is a fine
Get that
video. I really
commentary
like the
to it.
structure and yeah. I'm commenting that is an incredible shot by BBC. It's
Look at
incredible.
that
Yeah.
millipede. Look at all
Can't
those
you
With
legs.
the
just
yellow
change-
legs.
Can't you just change the playback speed? And
All right, Grayson. If you're not
Holy-
going to do this review seriously, I don't know why you're here. Quite
but
frankly.
I've heard that you can change the playback speed and then get away with playing stuff. Is
The
that not true?
millipedes use danger.
Well, you
Sorry?
can still
Let's-
play
Yeah,
it.
I know. I'm happy to pause it. It's only like 2 minutes.
Let's
or
just
so,
eat
and we
some
probably won't watch-
millipedes and chill,
Using
guys.
Okay,
cyanide.
Yeah,
now here's
yeah,
something
look
we
how-
can really fight over. What is the cutest
What's that?
lemur?
Oh, goodness.
Tailed, I believe.
Zabumafu's grandchildren.
I'm actually fond of Indries myself.
Wrecking
Does
type.
the what is that one? Does the I can't remember the name of it. The owl, I think it is. What is it called? The one with the massive eyes. Eye, yeah. Do they count?
Oh God, no.
I don't remember if
They
they're
are
lemurs or
lemurs.
not.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Mhm.
They are.
They are.
How
They
do you
are
spell
indeed.
that? I can't remember the name of them.
AYE-AYE.
Yeah. Oh, come on, they're cute.
Hey, Mark, I've got to
What?
go soon. Can I just ask a
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
favor? I just
course.
sent you a link in the private chat to a picture that I'd like you to react to. There's nothing inappropriate on it. I promise.
Okay.
But before I go, I would just like your thoughts on this interesting infographic.
Okay.
All right. Then I've sent a link to my pick of the cutest lemur after that.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to derail it, but I just wanted you to. So this is prison population per 10,000 per 100,000 people
The whole
for
thing.
different countries,
Prison.
and we can see
I
here
love
clearly
this.
that 100,000 out of 100,000 Australians are in fact prisoners.
I love it.
Okay, I get the joke, but what the hell is going on in Portugal?
Look, what the hell is going on in the US? I mean,
Well,
holy
we all
crap.
know
We know
hell
what's
is
going on in the U.S.
US.
We all know
Yeah.
what that is.
Also, didn't Portugal decriminalize like all its drugs? So like
Right,
really
yeah.
what is going on with their prison population?
Well, we don't know what year this is anyway. Like, so maybe that would have made a difference.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
sure. Maybe they just like really. Maybe they just like crime. Have you ever considered that they just like crime?
Well, if they liked crime, then they would take them out of prisons, put them back in society.
Oh, wait up. We've got a super chat come in. I'm so sorry. I didn't miss that for a second.
No.
From Dr. Kent Hovand. Mark acknowledged whale anatomy. 15 feet mount that. I'm struggling to pass that. I'm sorry. If you want to rephrase that. Mark acknowledged whale anatomy. 15 feet mount that.
All right.
Did you know that a
Sounds
whale
like
has a
Ken Hovind
15-foot
quote.
penis?
If this is the actual Kent, can you please stop filleting whales? I think they're getting a little
Look,
uncomfortable.
when we were talking
that's
about
not
all
Kent.
those
He would never
penises
send a
earlier,
super chat.
I felt like we were running a Kent stream when we were talking about like all the ape penises and size because
I do think that we've got off track and we need to get back to the ape penises. I thought that was the whole point of this after show.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. But look, Grayson, I'm gonna copy that because that's freaking hilarious. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I gotta send that to Mark.
Yeah, man. Like, I totally appreciate it. That's awesome. Like people go, "Oh, you're descended from criminals," and we're like, "Yes, and what's your point?" Like,
Descended from Ned Kelly himself.
Yeah, man. One of our heroes, and he was a complete like outlaw kind of thing. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
All right. Well, hey,
love it.
I'm gonna head out, but thanks everyone for being here. Thanks, Mark, for hosting the after show for the debate.
Thanks for coming, Grayson. Appreciate
Good
it. You
to
did
see you,
fantastic,
Grayson.
man. Under really difficult circumstances, a really difficult person. So fantastic work. Like really.
By the way, Mark,
good luck
I
on your
sent you a
Hogan
link
debate
to
coming
the
up.
most adorable lemur.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Just 1 second. I will get rid of that and the most adorable lemur. Because like adorable lemurs. See, Beamsy is showing a quokka right now, which beats the lemur hands down. I'm sorry, it just does.
Quokka throws its baby at its predators.
Yeah, it does actually. Come on, that's adorable, right?
No, they are adorable, but we're talking about most adorable among lemurs. So unfortunately, the quagga is disqualified. It's disqualified.
Wait, what am I looking at here? This?
Qualified?
No, disqualified.
That's a lemur? It's a fucking bear. What are you talking about?
This is Archaeoendrus, one of, if not the largest known lemurs ever discovered. It is huge and fluffy, and I love it.
When I mentioned earlier that I like Indries, this was the ancestor, if you will. Actually, didn't live that long ago.
Yeah,
these guys didn't die out. Go ahead.
The link above that one is
That's right,
cute,
Emperor.
to be honest.
So these guys didn't live like thousands of years ago, or they just lived a few hundred years ago.
Really?
When just within the last 1,500 years, these these giant lemurs are wiped out. This is just one species too. There were
a
couple that were huge.
God.
There's Archaeoindris, and then what's the other one that's got the really big jaw?
They're so cute.
Well,
They're so huge and fluffy.
You
I
see,
love
Bree,
them.
before the flood,
Oh my
animals
God.
got really big.
Here, Mark, second row.
It's a
second
lemur
picture in the
bear.
second row.
Okay.
Uh,
Second picture in the second row. That one?
yeah, that one.
And Mark had mentioned eyes before too. There was
It's
a
one with a
giant
baby.
eye
It's so cute.
as well in the past.
Oh my God. It's a lemur bear.
Isn't prehistory great? Or history?
Oh, wait. It's in Ark?
Yeah, in a mod.
Okay.
Noah's Ark.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Huh? It's a game with dinosaurs.
If I recall, you
And
tame
hookers.
it with honey-covered strawberries.
Okay, that's rather specific, but sure. All right, now I want to see this lemur getting like blitzed. Like, I've been trying to watch it, and
We keep distracting you.
show
I'm
a
so sorry,
lemur.
Mark.
No, it's not nobody's
He's gone
fault.
back
My
to the
own,
gorilla
let's face it.
penises.
Yeah. Did you know that a gorilla has a 2-foot?
Well, more like 2-inch.
Oh yeah, he's
Ah,
starting.
Have you
to feel
seen-
like-
bad for the
He's
for the
Oh.
female
Have you seen
gorillas.
Megalodapus?
Megalographus?
no more distractions. I will get through this
Megalodapus.
video.
I'm talking to Dr. Deinanthropus
Okay.
because there's another giant lemur.
I have not. If you want to drop a link, feel free.
Okay, yeah, let me pull it up.
When you said that, I heard something different, which I will post.
Yeah, Megalodapus looked like Alf, kind of. It's really weird.
Oh no!
Well, I'll get a picture of one in a sec. I just want to see these lemurs like get off their face. Really, what? How am I not showing it? I'm not showing it. Fucking hell! All
Mm-mm.
right. Where was
We've
that?
missed the lemurs getting lit, and
In
you're all look at
cyanide, as a defense,
Look at that.
woo.
but the lemurs still chew on them, albeit extremely cautiously.
Well, in
So-
fairness, with their eyes, they look like they're already high, like to start with. So that's not helping matters any.
They got they foam at the mouth. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
maybe
all
their
foamy.
pupils will dilate and stuff.
The toxins cause the lemurs to salivate. They then rub both the saliva and the millipede into their fur.
You ever got so high you rubbed a millipede into your fur? Yeah.
Do you really want an answer to that, Mark?
I dread to think. Yes, I do actually.
As an
I do.
insecticide to ward off insects such as mosquitoes.
Okay, so they ward off insects as well. All right.
But they
Wow,
are
insect
suspiciously
repellent and
enthusiastic
weed.
about the
I
whole
like
process.
this.
Oh, he loves it.
It seems they don't just work
It's
as
like
an
a bar of
insect
soap.
repellent. The chemicals also
Oh, I like
appear to
this one
send them into a
piece.
trance-like state.
Trance-like state.
Mm-hmm.
I get some trippy music playing now. Listen.
Oh yeah, you can tell he's feeling it.
Yeah. This is the trip's about to drop. Yeah.
Complete intoxication.
Whoa, man! You can
I like
pause it
this
any
one.
frame, and it's like,
I love his big tufts of fur and the drool.
yeah, that's just drooling.
Lean's not here,
Can't
man.
seem to get enough.
He's stealing his drugs. Stop it! That's so rude.
Did you see his eyes when he popped up? That was so cute. Oh man!
I mean, if we're sharing cool animal facts, there's an awesome one.
Oh yeah, he's had enough. He's absolutely blitzed. Yeah, he is totally
When
screwed.
it's all over,
Does anybody want
there's
this,
no hiding the
man?
state they're in.
Sorry.
He looks so coked out.
I think they always look coked out, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do always.
Time to sleep it off.
Lemurs are awesome. Can I just say
Doesn't
that
it make-
lemurs are freaking
Doesn't it make
awesome.
you want to go just live with the
are.
lemurs and just chill
Yeah.
and eat fruit and get high on millipedes all day?
Right.
It
I will
kinda,
say,
yeah.
Bree, I love your
Lemurs
elf
over it, so.
lemur.
My what? Oh yeah,
Your
the
elf
big
lemur
Ledapus.
is adorable.
They're so aren't they so weird looking with
Megalodacus,
their
I see it.
wrinkly nose? I'm glad you knew what I meant when I said Alf too. 'Cause,
Yeah, that is in my. That's about my age that I do know the Alf reference,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think
and
they
I can
should
imagine
reboot
this
Alf.
thing
Like
eating
Alf.
cats as well.
I don't know.
Find
I
out
think
now.
Yeah,
the
I could imagine that chowing down on a cat. Yeah.
yeah. I think the thing in the link I sent after yours is cuter though.
Okay. In the YouTube link.
The link just before Breeze that you just showed.
Okay. That's a weird looking thing. It almost looks like a tapir kind of nose, right? The tapir kind of.
Yeah, it's just and that's what its skull
Yeah.
looks like too.
Oh, really? What's that called? I've
That's-
seen that before.
That's what I thought Bree said. That's why I was
I can't-
confused.
Oh.
I can't see what is it.
It's called
well, I'm just grabbing it.
Megalograptus.
It's the sea
Oh.
scorpion.
Yeah, sea
Sea
scorpion.
scorpion,
okay.
yeah.
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 Yeah, that's ugly and quite frankly quite frightening. That's how I'd imagine an alien would look, kind of thing, if we ever encountered
Well,
one.
used to be the majority of organisms that scurried about in the shallow, warm seas and the beaches looked all like that.
Yeah, like trilobites and stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 All kinds of weird, creepy crawlies running around.
Mhm. Still is. I
What
mean,
was the
let's face
cutest
it.
lemur? What did you nominate?
Which one was the cutest
Doctor?
lemur?
Oh, it was the Archaeoendrus, the big one.
Oh, the huge one. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's huge and fluffy.
Mhm.
What did I say? I said the ringtail lemur.
Yeah. And then speaking
I-
of weird things living in the shallow sea, have you ever seen a fish that jumps on land?
Are you talking
What,
about
yes?
the mud skipper?
No. It has independently evolved to move it completely differently than mud skippers. It's in the YouTube link I shared. It's called the Leaping Blenny.
Just 1 second. I'll just share ye old ringtail for my vote.
It is adorable how they hop
Yeah.
around.
Lemurs. I just like them. They're just very, very beautiful little animals.
Yeah.
Am I boring? So what was our choices? Should we have a poll? I like polls. I don't know why I
Ooh,
like
yes.
polls so much.
Does the short-nosed anteater count?
Bree, you're gonna have to answer this one for me. I've got
No, an
idea.
anteater's not a lemur.
Well, unless it's a type of lemur called an anteater.
No, for lemurs, I go for the Sundra loris.
So what were our
Loris is
options on the cutest lemur?
They're lemurs.
Did you say a loris?
Yeah.
Hello,
Loris
Loris.
isn't a lemur.
Isn't it?
No,
Quite sure
loris
it's
isn't
classified as a
lemurs.
lemur.
Nah, well, they're in the group the Streporhini with the lemurs, but they're a separate family.
Also, everyone
go.
write down your pick for
Lorisidae.
cutest lemur to make it easier for Mark.
They are freaking adorable, though. You're not wrong.
Excuse me, I've got a furry demon that needs attention. I'll be back shortly.
Yeah, sure, man.
Fine.
What lemur did you nominate?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't nominate one, but if you want me to, I'm gonna go with the mouse lemur.
Mouse lemur.
Mm-hmm.
Should we get a picture of that one?
Yeah, I can find you a picture of it.
I can probably search one. That's okay.
They are pretty cute.
Oh, that is a contender. That is definitely a contender. Yeah, looks cute.
I think they're contending for this. They may be the smallest primate, but I think there may be some marmosets that contend.
I don't think they're the smallest primate.
Like a pygmy marmoset might be smaller. Let's see, smallest primate.
Google's saying it's
that's the mouse lemur.
A pygmy mouse lemur.
Well, that's what they had for just a mouse lemur. Not sure if that's a pygmy mouse lemur.
They weigh 1.2 ounces as an adult. Or 30 grams, apparently.
There's a few species. Pygmy marmosets are tiny too, though, 3.5 ounces. But marmosets aren't lemurs, obviously. But god dang, they're cute, though.
Oh, a spectral tarsier. Is a tarsier a lemur? I don't think it is. That's more a monkey, isn't it? Like that's not a
tarsier is a.
I think they're still strepsirrhines, but they're not lemurs.
Okay. Yeah, I got you, Titan. It's not a lemur.
Oh, yeah, no, they're in Haplorhini. So
yeah, they're with us.
Definitely not lemur.
They're actually the most basal Haplorhini. And they're the only. I think they're the only ones. The only order or the order, the only infra order that's completely carnivorous, right? They eat veggies, or they don't eat too many veggies. Very rarely. They eat lizards, though. Tarsiers are cool looking.
Doesn't count.
There are lots of lemurs, though. Everybody keeps going lorises and tarsiers and just ignoring the lemurs.
It's lemurs, yeah.
Hey, you didn't include one.
No, it's cute, buddy. Nobody's nobody's arguing that it's not cute as a button. It's just not a lemur. That's all. No.
Archaeoindris? That's a lemur.
Well, I've already done the poll, so vote on the poll.
I think you put Megalodapus instead of Archaeoindris. That's okay, though. We could, to the audience where it says Megalodapus, he actually wanted it to be the Archaeoindris. They're very different in their morphology.
The wrong one.
Yeah, just the wrong subfossil, the wrong giant lemur fossil. Giant
offended.
Lemur. Different skull structures in the two species.
I shall complain to the manager.
The
Mark is the manager.
Go and complain. No, it's not me. No, come on.
Where's the complaint
That
department?
was just a level of look. A manager represents some level of management, and you won't get that from me. So, I don't think
Bree, are you getting high?
Usually.
Lucky, it's illegal.
Is it a millipede? Oh, why? Where are you?
This time of night.
She wouldn't let that stop her.
I'm a bad girl.
Well, it's illegal where I am as well, so don't worry about that.
Well,
Unless
actually,
you've got
even if it was legal where I am, I can't use it because of my job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, no one's forcing you to have a job now.
Well, turns out people don't want their bus drivers high. So
that's probably that's reasonable to me. That is reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a good standard.
Yeah.
Mm. A lot of people that work here in the mines, they're not allowed to do anything kind of thing near their mine shift, which is a good idea as well.
You work in a
if you
mine?
are going to be No, but the place that I live, there's a huge mining community. We call them FIFOs. They fly in, fly out kind of thing.
It's just his excuse for liking miners.
Okay.
That was and he just
That
like
was a
left
note
on
to
that
leave
note.
on.
No. I just put him in the back. Think about what you've done, Beamsy. Think about what you've done. Yeah.
See, I'm classy. I grew up around a lot of quarries. So make a joke
Quarries. You really like hunting quarry? All right, that's terrible, but that's the best I could do at short notice.
I don't have a drum set on me, otherwise
I've already been put backstage once, so
I'm
gonna
be honest with you. I just wasn't even prepared for this query, so I'm gonna just take a step back.
Yeah.
Can I tell you, Mark, what Peter did to me and Amy today? Can I tell you this while you were watching the debate? He trolled us. He came in our stream as Brett Keane, and for like 20 minutes, me and Amy were debating with what we thought was Brett Keane. Peter was just spamming like the most ridiculous comments in our chat. We were responding to him. No. It was just in chat.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
He came in as Brett Keane, and we were debating Brett Keane in chat for like 20 minutes.
This is what happens when Peter gets bored.
That's
what happens when he gets bored. We've got to find some way to occupy him because he gets bored and he just pretends to be Otangelo.
He also came in as Otangelo. He did that.
Oh, of course
he said he was gay.
Of course he did.
Yeah, he came out as gay Otangelo. Yeah.
Well, was chat moving fast?
Was chat moving fast?
Yeah, you know the meme?
No.
Chat's moving so fast, no one will notice I'm gay.
Oh. I haven't heard that meme. It's pretty cool though.
Really?
Well, kiddos, I think I'm going to turn in for the night.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. It's about 1:15 here.
Yeah, it's been a good couple of... Actually, I didn't know it'd been a good couple of hours since we started. That's
time flies by.
Yeah. So, has anyone got anything left to... And thank you so much for coming in, Bree. It's always a pleasure to see you. And you know, I'm sure we'll chat and catch up. Well, we got to collab sometime and like do another thing. And you know, I must admit, I actually probably need your help on how to animate an ad for my channel because you asked for an ad and I think I should put an ad out there. So, yeah, I'm trying to work on it at the moment. But my creative skills compared. Yeah, I think it'd be fantastic. You know, like I love Bree's perspectives on things, and you know, I love debating. So it'd be awesome.
Oh, you guys buttering me up for something? What is it? More debates?
No, not at all.
I can't wait to do that debate though. That's gonna be so much fun.
No, it sounds interesting.
Yeah,
I don't have an opinion either way, so I could be swayed either way.
Yeah, I think it's be a pretty peaceful debate too. Anyway, you all have a good night.
Night, Bree. Take care. Yeah, I'm trying to work on my ad, so maybe I'll hit up Bree sometime for her creative skills because she does amazing things on her channel, right? She does like insects and you know she's
everything.
Yeah, all of the graphics going by. I tried. I'm fumbling around on sort of Canva and other programs trying to do something, you know, because everybody wants to be like Bree, of course, you know, like so I'm trying to emulate her thing and. Not, you know, have my own thing at the same time, my own style, but just the way her graphics are passing by and things like that is really good. So, yeah, I might hit her up for some information to help because as I've said before, my creative skills are right up there with my ability to breathe water. You know, like right up there is just amazing abilities. So,
do you have any idea what the next debate review is going to be on?
I'm going over to Ember's channel and we're probably going to do the Matt Delahunty versus Hussein debate in DebateCon on Modern Day Debate. So that's an interesting one. I've sort of seen the start of it, but it's kind of I think Hussein got absolutely annihilated. So there's a lot to discuss in it and sort of what happened in it. Well, yeah, I mean, I interviewed Hussein on my channel when he first did his first sort of modern day debate, and he didn't want to debate or anything. We just had a discussion. It was a really fascinating discussion, like, you know, sort of what he was saying about Islam and, you know, what I was putting, because he wanted to talk about sort of my worldview and how it fits into everything. So it was more a discussion on sort of the secular side of things, and it was a really interesting discussion. It was really cool. So I do like Hussein. I just, you know, putting up against someone like Matt Delahunty, who has done so many debates. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, he's not going to put up with sort of, so in a discussion, you'll sort of let things go by and say, hey, you know, if you want to believe that, that's fine, kind of thing. A debate, you're sort of like, well, you've got to come up with an epistemology in order to make the sort of knowledge claims that you're making. So, and Matt Delahunty's not going to let sort of, you know, an offhand comment about what is fact go by without challenging it. There's no way. So I'm expecting, as I watch the rest of it, it's going to be a lot more of that kind of, you know, him saying this is what Islam knows to be true, and Matt going, like, you've got to come up with some way to justify that. You know, you've got to be able to make that claim, and at the moment you don't have enough evidence. That's what I expect. Because to me, you know, he'll make a lot of claims. It's just like, well, in a discussion, who cares? You know, it's just a discussion. But debate is a different beast. But anyway, Doctor, let's. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Go over.
It would have been as bad as yesterday with Ultimate when he said that everything he knows, everything has a polar opposite, and can't answer. Okay, can you explain zero?
Is that Ultimated Judeo-Christian you're talking about?
Oh yeah. That was on Ember's channel. Yeah,
it's the same question I asked him when I was on Amy's channel, taking over the debate. Remember how I had to jump in and take over the debate?
You had to take in Tebow rage quit. Yeah.
Hebo Sulu. Look, I will never blame somebody for rage quitting against Ultimated. That is not a person.
It's understandable. It's understandable.
Totally. That guy is just, he's on a whole other level of crazy that just, you know, like, seriously, it's infuriating.
He wants to debate. He wants to debate me and Amy on the channel, but I'm leery. Like, we would have to do it a certain way. Because what he really wants, all he really wants is he wants like 10 minutes to just read through his syllogism uninterrupted. And that is, to me, a total waste of time because it's so incoherent. So everybody tunes it out after about the first 3 sentences because nobody can keep track of all the points he's spamming. And I think it's just, he likes to use lots of big words and complicated terms, and he's just wowing people with his command of the language. Okay, yeah, he does know lots of big words and he can make complicated sentences, but he can't really convey ideas in an understandable way.
Well, I don't think he knows the words. I think he's heard the words, and I think he's sort of jotted them down because the context that he uses them in, he doesn't seem to be able to sort of leverage that word from one context to another. So, you know, what the meaning of what ultimate actually means. Or you know, sort of what sort of meta-ontological means. He doesn't seem to be able to give a definition of these words or a coherent definition. You know, sorry, you broke up, James. What was that?
Definition /
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, I mean, I think I was the first to debate him out of anybody that I know.
You did debate him.
Yeah. And that was when he was the biblically guy.
Biblical Christological Account for the Wind was his name.
Something like that. Yeah.
I've heard he used to use a name called like God's Perfect Spouse at one point. That's what somebody was saying, but I've never seen him go by that name.
Yeah, that's why. That's why when I took over the debate, I tried to get him to explain zero in his worldview, and I tried it again on Ember's channel and still didn't get an answer, even when Mark took over.
No. Yeah, he won't give an answer. So
Hmm.
yeah, but he doesn't seem to understand that just because you've got a valid syllogism, which he doesn't even have that, because there's some fundamental fallacies in there, like begging the question
Oh, yeah,
fallacy,
yeah.
like he's assuming things up front that have not been demonstrated. But even if you had a valid, sorry,
a lot of it's just baseless assertions. He's just making claims
yeah,
that have
yeah,
not been
yeah.
substantiated.
Yeah, but he begs the question right up front, because the sort of conclusion of it is that a god necessarily exists, but the first premise assumes a god, so he's assuming the conclusion right off the bat. He's assuming the conclusion,
Right.
but the whole idea behind a syllogism is, even if it's valid, like even if it's logical in structure, that doesn't necessarily make it sound. In order to be sound,
Right.
the premises has to be true, and therefore the conclusion has to be accepted. So he's not understanding that you present a syllogism in a way that people find the premises true, and therefore must accept the conclusion if you want to be logical and rational. He's just presenting it as valid, even though I would dispute that, and saying, well, it's valid, therefore you've got to accept it. No.
Yeah, he just says that you just have to accept it. You just have to accept
Yeah.
it. He likes to say that. Yeah.
But that's not how syllogisms work. You know, if I can present a perfectly valid syllogism involving a magic unicorn, you know, if a magic unicorn exists, then it's the most powerful entity in the universe. Sort of, you know, so a magical unicorn can create the world if it wanted to. Therefore, a magic unicorn could have created the world. You know, it's not. It's a valid syllogism, you know, but it has to be sound as well. It has to actually have the premises to be believed in order for it to be true, or at least, you know, likely true. Yeah, I don't know. I just
existence when he doesn't exist.
Yeah, and that's the other thing he's guilty of, is defining a god into existence, defining God as something that exists, and saying, because God is defined as this, then it exists, kind of thing, which is, you know, not how anything works.
You know God exists. That's
BMC.
You know. Yeah, and I mean that's sort of a circular thinking, right? So he's like, well, God exists. The Bible is God's word. It says that everyone knows that God exists. Therefore, everyone knows that God exists. It's sort of this really, you know, circular kind of argument where if God's true, which it is, then the Bible's true, which it is. It says that, you know, all people know that God exists. So therefore, that is a fact. And it's like, no,
Man,
that is not a fact.
That sounds like a story Aaron Ross told one time about an employer who decided he was a Satanist, even though he wasn't.
I don't think I've heard that one. I don't listen to a lot of Aaron Ra. Yeah, I must admit, I want to see more of him. I loved his series on, you know, evolution, like the amount, and the series on the amount of the ways we know that the ways that we know that the Ark is not a true story. The flood myth is a myth. You know?
Is a great.
That was fantastic.
Great series.
He told that story in a speech he did for his induction into the Satanic Temple. Actually, enough. Recently he's been coming out with some videos like the evolution of snakes and like the evolution of spiders. They're pretty neat. They're like his older videos, but much longer form.
Videos debunking.
I don't. In the past, I have not liked Aaron Ra's debates. He's been too angry, interrupts too often, for my liking. That's just a preferential thing. I know that other people love that stuff. I'm just sort of, I'm not a huge proponent of it. But he did one recently on Modern Day Debate where he did fantastic. His style was completely different than what I've seen before, and that's why I want to see a bit more of his stuff that he's done recently, because he seems to have just chilled the fuck out a bit, I guess. Instead
I think
of
it
getting,
depends who he's debating.
Yeah, like he knows
that's
his stuff
true.
and he knows it
If
well,
he's
but
debating a
he's
bad faith
very
actor,
vulnerable
it's gonna
to
be savage.
getting taunted.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I guess the debates I had seen earlier, but I mean, a few of the debates I'd seen of him when he was a bit younger, he was savage no matter who it was. And I guess that's what I had. He wasn't my favorite because of that. But that's just a preferential thing. And like I said, the last debate I saw him in, he was great. Who was he debating? I've forgotten, but he was
debated. And me and Amy we're going to do a stream about this debate. His debate with T-Jump from DebateCon. It was where T-Jump basically was taking the position that since religion, the placebo effect of it helps people more than it hurts, that we should lie to people about religion so that they will believe it. And
well, that's an interesting
I don't know if he
topic.
believes that. I don't know if he believes that, or if he just took the position for the debate. But yeah.
Which debate? Is that the one against T-Jump from the DebateCon?
T-Jump and Aaron
Modern
Ra
Day Debate just posted it 6 hours ago.
Yeah, but Aaron Ra was on the negative for religion does more good than harm.
No, yeah, T-Jump took the position that we should lie to people to make them more religious. I don't think that was his position. That's not what I got from his position anyway. What I got from his position is that there are belief structures that are what you would define as religion, like based upon beliefs that can't be adequately justified. And those belief systems have done more good than harm. And that was his position. But I think he was including secular religions in that. Like some people do refer to secular humanism as a secular religion. It is based upon principles that you can't give an adequate justification for. I think he was already asked several times if we should lie, and he always said yes, we should. So I mean,
I don't remember that part of it. I must admit, I was watching it sort of in another screen and doing some other stuff, so I might have missed that, James. It would be interesting to see. I might go back and rewatch it and sort of pay a bit more attention. If you guys are you actually doing a stream on it, or have you done a stream on it?
We're just going to be talking about it. We're not going to watch the debate, review it. We're just going to be talking about, does religion do more harm than
the concept?
Yeah, it's like the anti-theism concept. Basically,
right. Well, don't forget that anti-theism and anti-religion aren't necessarily the same things. So the way we define religions is sort of, I understand that a definition that is applied is a sort of a belief system that is not based upon evidence. It's rather based upon, no justification. So if knowledge is sort of justified true belief, and sort of your beliefs are just unjustified beliefs. Religion is based upon unjustified beliefs. It's sort of a matter of faith,
non-falsifiable.
Yeah, right. So if you take secular humanism, for instance, like there isn't anything justifiable about putting humans above other organisms and other things. It is purely a subjective thing. I mean, my justification is subjective. I'm a human. That's why I prioritize humans, right? So can I justify that in a objective sense? Not really. There's nothing objective about humans being better than any other organism, or pointing to them being better for the world, because they may be worse for the world. So yeah, that's so that thing of saying, hey, religion isn't necessarily theism or sort of,
do we call that a religion? I wouldn't.
Secular humanism,
I wouldn't consider that to be religion.
It entirely depends on your definition of religion.
Yeah.
How
I
I
wouldn't, but
usually
I guess some people do.
look, the way that I use the word religion, I'm usually not talking about the definition of religion that I'm talking about right now. So if you're talking about just beliefs, I wouldn't say that like a system of beliefs, I wouldn't say that's my definition of religion that I usually use. I would usually define religion as worship of some sort of deity with a well, some sort of deity, some sort of deified being, whether that is what you're like, because then you've got to sort of get into the definitions of supernatural. A deity I would simply define as something with power beyond human means or what humans can achieve, kind of thing, whether that be a deified person or a deified angel or something. That's entirely up for whatever. It's your deity. It doesn't matter whether that's true or not.
So is Bigfoot a deity?
The spaghetti monster.
Well, I don't think Bigfoot's got any power that above what humans can achieve, unless you're attributing
it can disappear anytime cameras appear.
Right. So if you're attributing teleportation powers and you're worshipping Bigfoot, then yes, that would be a religion. Sure. It'd be a weird ass religion, but look at some of the religions that are out there.
I guess if you're worshiping him, but
yeah, hold on.
I guess you could have a belief framework. I mean, I guess you could have a belief framework where he has the ability to cloak himself, but I guess that could have a basis in the physical world. I don't know.
Or maybe he has that D&D ability where he can just walk through trees.
Okay, so one thing I got to put to you is be careful, because is a Scientology a religion under what you're thinking is a religion with a supernatural thing? Because there's nothing in Scientology that's necessarily supernatural. If you take like Thetans, which is the spirit stuff of humans that used to be aliens.
I mean, Scientology is just a scam. Like, you can call it a religion.
I think it's branded as a religion.
It's a scam.
I think that is narrow. To the people up the top, yeah, I think it's a scam. Like, personally, that's my opinion. I think it's a scam. Like, I don't want to be sued by Scientology, so I'll say that is entirely my opinion, that it is a scam up the top. But I think the people down below, my opinion is that they think it's actually they're religiously based. They're is it a well, okay, but we're getting away from the point. We're like side railing. We're off the rails completely. Is it a religion? Yes, it's a religion. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's a scam or not. It's still a religion. It's still.
I mean, we're talking about sidelining. The original purpose of this was sufficient evidence for Australopithecus.
Look, yeah.
Conversations evolve, just like species.
Yeah, true.
We've evolved
just like
where
Australopithecus. Well, I mean, that's not like, so my idea of a religion would sort of be a deified, something that you worship that has been deified, some sort of deity, whether that's, humans used to be aliens and it's their spirits that we are, kind of thing. That's deified. That's fine. It fits that. But if you're talking about just a system of beliefs that are unjustified, if that's a religion, then secular humanism is a religion. Under my definition, it's not, because there's nothing deified in secular humanism. There's no, you're not worshipping any
subjective morality beliefs that you.
Right, you're not worshipping that. You're not worshipping it. You're not worshipping humans as a deified thing.
Maybe you could define it as a ritualized, faith-based. Oh, wow. Sorry, it's 1:30 a.m. My brain's not working.
No, it's okay. No, it's good stuff. Yeah.
A ritualized, faith-based belief system with a supernatural component.
Ooh. With a supernatural, preternatural, preternatural component, yeah. That would fall.
Supernatural. Just because if there is no supernatural component, then I'm not sure that would be a religion.
Well, I think that Well, it depends, because I don't think Scientologists themselves think that there's anything supernatural about their religion. They think it's all just natural, and sort of that's the whole point. That they think it's just. But yeah, I mean, everybody else would agree that there's a supernatural component. Spirits don't fly off aliens and get thrown down a volcano and nuked or whatever stupid stuff they came up with, in my opinion. So yeah,
You've just never seen it, right?
Sorry,
you've just never seen it happen. So I mean,
right. But yeah, no, it's a perfectly fine definition that you're using, Doctor. Like there's people who will come up with different definitions for religions that'll be perfectly compatible with mine, and I'll say yes, that's a definition that's fine. I don't have a problem with that definition.
Well, my understanding of Scientology was that L. Ron Hubbard, he came up with his Dianetics, where he was going out and he was telling people that psychiatry is nonsense, stop taking your medicine. And then the FDA stepped in and said, actually, you're making medical claims. You can't make those without documentation. And he converted it to a religion, which meant he could say basically whatever he wanted to say, and they couldn't stop him because we have freedom of religion. So, that's just my understanding of that.
But like for T-Jump to sort of, his definition of religion is quite broad. I don't have a problem with his definition of religion. There's some questions it brings up. What if religion is just sort of unjustified beliefs in a system with structure and things, then there's tons of things that would fall into being a religion. I don't like his definition for that reason, because you could call you could call the NRA a religion at that point.
I guess you could structure a religion that was, I guess, perfectly benign and that there were no ill effects to it. It's like totally harmless, but that's not really like the reality of what we see. That's not the history of religion, even though I guess you could construct one.
I guess my problem with Tom's is he's basically setting up. I mean, I don't know if he's doing a parody and setting up his I think it's Church of the Best Possible World is what he's trying to get going. I don't know whether it's a parody or whether he's being serious about it. I think it's just,
why would we want to do that? I mean,
there's the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, right? That's probably the most famous example, and that's
a parody,
set up to be right. But as a secondary thing, it does have a sense of community. So if you're setting up a secular church to just be a community of people that all care about one another and take care of one another,
isn't that like the Satanic Temple? Although they're more explicitly anti-theist.
Yes, and the Satanic Temple, they do have their own system of philosophy, right? So they do have their own tenets, which is sort of never harm children. Everybody's free to express what they want. Sort of everybody should be safe in their own home kind of thing. There's a number of tenets associated with that. Atheism is a bit weirder because there's no real tenets associated with atheism. It's a position. Right. There's a position on one thing. If you're talking about tenets, then secular humanism has tenets, right? There's certain things that you follow with secular humanism. You have to prioritize humans above all other life. You have to sort of harm, sort of minimize harm or increase the well-being of humans. Science is a large part of it, kind of thing. There's philosophical concepts in secular humanism around consequentialism and utilitarianism, right? There's actual things that you can point to. Atheism doesn't have any of that. It's got none of it whatsoever. I really, I don't know if Tom's doing another Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. I don't know if he's serious. He's certainly playing it off as serious.
I mean, there's
I don't really care.
Unitarian Universalism is a thing. It's never really caught on, because I think once you I know, like for me, once you get out of the mainstream religious mindset, I was not looking for something to replace that. Like I wasn't looking for another belief system that mimics religion, just maybe without the harmful aspects of it. But that's just me. I mean, I don't think it's our job to replace religion or to come up with something, to conjure something up, to give people a sense of community, even though I know a lot of people are looking for that. And I admit that maybe maybe that's just me.
Well, I mean, really, people do these churches and these secular religions to just have that sense of community that sort of humans seem to need, and a lot of us do it with our YouTube channels and sort of meeting people and just creating. Sure, absolutely, and I love to do that. I love to support the people that I see that need help, and I'm a part of my community, and they support me, kind of thing. That's what we're doing here. We're building communities. So the question is, are churches even needed anymore when you have this kind of thing? But I mean, that's not a hill I want to die on, James. If someone wants to create a secular religion for the community and say, hey, I'm a religion, I'm going to claim all the tax benefits and all of this stuff so I can build a community of atheistic minded people because, we're not welcome in other churches, so we don't have
They're
that.
Free to do
that's
it.
not a,
I mean,
yeah,
stop
I mean, I'm
doing
not,
it, but I just don't personally see it as a necessary thing. But
well, I mean,
again,
it may be necessary. Like when you're talking about what's necessary, you're talking sort of like what's the best thing for them to do. If they want to feel that they're part of this unique thing, I mean, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, they have a lot of fun with what they're doing. So it's just, atheists can't form churches is not a hill I want to die on. Like it's just not that argument I want to get into because I just.
No, I'm not saying they can't. I mean, I wouldn't call it a religion if it's just about atheism. I wouldn't consider Flying Spaghetti Monster a true religion. It's a parody religion. It's not a real religion. But
well, that's true. That's true.
Say, really quick. It is almost 2 a.m. for me. I gotta go.
Oh, yes, sorry. Look, it's only 2 p.m. over here. It's only 3 p.m. actually, 2:45. So I will have no idea what the time is. But so good to talk to you. I'll wrap up now. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to Dr. Dino. Thanks to James, Bree, Beamsy. Was there somebody else in here? Have I forgotten somebody? Grayson. Oh, just the star of the show. Yeah, no, what does he matter? Yeah, of course, Grayson. That guy. Yeah, no, Grayson did really well. Hard circumstances. SeaScience is pretty insufferable. So well done to Grayson for putting up with that. I don't think I could. So, kudos to him for going through that. He takes that bullet.
3 hours. It was a trooper.
He sure did. Sure did. But yeah, a good debate. I've got it linked in the comments. So if you do want to see it, it is linked there. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. As always, be kind to yourself and each other. And if you do want to be kind to me, leave a like, subscribe, and share the video if you do want to be kind. But if not, that's okay too. All good. Anything to add, fabulous people?
I'm hopefully actually going to get my butt in gear soon and make some dino videos.
Oh, so do you have a website that I can post for you if you want to throw it into?
I do not, but I will be using this channel.
So YouTube channel?
Yeah, I don't have anything posted yet, but
post that.
Okay.
Give it to me. So what do you plan on doing, Doctor? Plug yourself. What are you looking at doing?
For now, I mean, these are going to be my first YouTube videos, so I'll be starting small. Probably just a few shorts going over some dinosaur species, which should be fun.
Well, look, if you're ever in a stream of mine, I'll say up front, if you're ever in a stream of mine, feel free to use, your appearance as much as you want. I'm not going to claim anything for that. Like, just use it. That's fine. Yeah, of course. I think if people want to mirror it, go for it. More than happy to. That's not a problem.
All right.
I don't see your link.
He's
Give me your link.
Oh, I put it in the YouTube chat.
Oh, the links
maybe I
won't
should have put
appear
it
on
in the
there unless.
StreamYard chat.
Yeah, if you don't have a wrench, it won't appear there, mate.
There you
The
go.
freak, you missed the party, the freak.
Yeah, I'm sorry to freak. We're kind of winding up, mate. But it is good to see you, buddy. It really is. Oh, did it actually shot there?
It
No,
should
it
be in the
did
StreamYard
not.
chat.
So,
it's
and I'll
in the
just end the
private.
poll. Oh, it is a dead tie between the. I totally forgot about the poll, as per usual, because I always forget about the poll. It is a dead tie between the ring-tailed lemur and the mouse lemur. So,
Well, I will say I didn't realize you misposted my lemur earlier, so I would have had one more for the Megalopithecus, which would make the mouse lemur the winner.
Yeah, that's entirely my fault. So yeah.
I didn't vote. I like the ringtail lemur. That's just my.
I do too. Yeah. Anyway, people, do take care. Check in with Amy's. I'll just quickly see if anyone else is streaming, so I can send you somewhere if need be. Jay Pasick is streaming. If anybody's interested in Jay Pasick, so do feel free. Yeah, he's streaming. If anybody is interested, I might just redirect people. I only found this out of Ember. Do you know you can redirect people?
I've seen it. I don't know how to do it, but I have seen it been done before.
Yeah, if you're monetized, you can redirect people to another stream. Yeah. I'll try it out. I'm trying to get a hang on everything. I do apologize, everybody. I am trying to get a hang on everything. Yeah, tell me about it. Where's Jay? I'm looking. Oh, apparently you need their permission. Oh, well, that sucks. All right. Well, forget it. Work it out on yourself. I'll get yeah, go to Jay Passage. Jay's a good guy. I'll get a link for you. If you do drop there, all I ask you is to type into the chat Mark Raid. So we all know that we're coming over from the reading room and invading Jay, making him very uncomfortable. There you go. Yeah. Thanks, Watt. Peace to everybody. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and have a good day or night or whatever. Peace out.